day in most cases. Conveniently located in the heart of Wichita, on Oliver at Kellogg, the Laundry Station, and online at thelaundrystationks.com.
This is a Steckline Communications Station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM. Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Tuesday morning. Wichita police say a 9-year-old boy visiting friends at a South Wichita mobile home yesterday morning died from a single gunshot wound. Police were called to the report of a shooting at around 8:20 Monday at the Stonegate Mobile Home Park at 2201 East MacArthur. The child was found dead from a single gunshot wound, and police believe he was accidentally shot by his 11-year-old friend after the two got into a gun safe. There were no adults present, but 4 other children were at home at the time of the shooting, ranging in age from 9 to 16 years old. A Sedgwick County judge has ordered a 22-year-old Wichita man to serve 2 life prison sentences for a gang shooting that killed 2 people in front of a home at 9th and Grove. Back in November, Jonathan Carter was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and other charges. He's one of 4 men found guilty in the slayings of 55-year-old Betty Ann Holman and 24-year-old Brenton Oliver in December of 2015. I'm Rick Everett with news. Now to the sports desk with Doug Downs.
Going into last night's game between Iowa State and the Kansas Jayhawks, we had 4 teams atop the Big 12, all with the same 4-2 record. The Kansas Jayhawks were able to make a change in those standings last night with an 80-76 victory over Iowa State at Allen Fieldhouse. Coach Bill Self says, though, this team still can't be soft.
So much of it is a mindset. And, if we're going to be soft or timid, we're not. This team can't be like that and outskill people.
The Kansas State Wildcats also have a chance to shake up the standings as they host Texas Tech tonight at Bramlage Coliseum. You can hear the game on KQAM. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Mike here at Rusty Eck Ford with some exciting news. Our year-end offer is now extended till January 31st. That means you can still come pick out a new Ford and make no payments till 2020. That's right, drive it for all of 2019 and make no payments until 2020. Check out our nice selection at rustyeckford.com or come in person and take a look. When you decide, we'll set it up with no payments till 2020. Hey, it's a new year and you can have a happy new car. New cars, trucks, or SUVs with no payments till 2020 through January 31st. This offer is only available at Rusty Eck Ford in Wichita Town East and Kellogg. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud. Dealer retains rebates, Ford credit, interest accrues from date of sale. All negative equity paid in full. Max payment assistance up to $500. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Come visit us at Rusty Eck Ford or go to rustyeckford.com.
Mark Collier at Collier Allstate knows mayhem can happen at any time in Kansas. Whether you live in the city, one of Kansas's great small towns, or out in the Great Plains, Mark and Allstate will protect you from the effects of mayhem. Home, health, life, or business, Mark and his great staff will help you find the best protection. Mayhem is guaranteed to come. Let the Mark Collier Agency help you through it. Mark Collier, the Collier Agency, 204 North Main in Goddard. Give them a call at 316-413-4014 and on Facebook at Collier Allstate. ABC Recycling is a full-service recycling company with a long-time service to our community. Whether you're an individual or a company that encounters or produces scrap metal, the team at ABC can provide you with an easy and profitable recycling program that's fair and honorable because that's how they do business. ABC will customize a recycling program that fits your unique needs. Let us make your space cleaner, nicer for the environment, and all with a better bottom line. Visit us just west of Hydraulic and Gilbert or abcrecyclingllc.com.
Hey everybody, Tony White, Augusta Flight Center. This week we're talking about 214 Lima Foxtrot. That's our Alaris CH-2000. This aircraft is a great primary trainer, instrument trainer, or time builder. With a Garmin 430 and dual VORs, it's a heck of a deal at $95 an hour. It's also very roomy for a 2-seater. For more information on our flight training options, visit our AFC Facebook page, our website at iflyaugusta.com, or call 316-733-4080.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center. Paul Whelan, the U.S. citizen accused of spying in Russia, appeared in a Moscow courtroom a short time ago and was denied bail. It was disclosed Whelan was arrested moments after being handed a USB drive that had secret files. Correspondent Fred Pleitkin tells us Whelan's lawyers argue he was not expecting secrets.
The defense, they don't believe that to be the case. They think that he was certainly not aware that he was in possession of anything that might be a state secret. That sort of is their line of defense.
American singer Chris Brown has been arrested in Paris and is in custody after a woman filed a rape complaint. Brown has been in repeated legal trouble since pleading guilty to the felony assault in 2009 of his then-girlfriend, singer and actress Rihanna. Stock futures in Wall Street are following global markets downward this morning following declines in the Chinese economy and gloomy forecasts coming from the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. NASDAQ futures are leading the losses, down 67 points, about 1% of total value. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Maximum Outdoor Equipment. All equipment outdoors, from lawnmowers to snowblowers. Just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a slight chance of drizzle, cloudy with the temperature falling to around 27 by 5 p.m. Winds gusting this afternoon over 35 miles an hour. Cloudy but clearing for tonight, low around 21. Wind gusts over 30 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:06, it's currently 47 degrees.
Join the KQAM News team every day with Rick and Stephanie only on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
We need to have options. Now, healthcare is not a right. Let me repeat that. Healthcare is not a right. But as a civilized society, as a first world country, we need to have options for healthcare so that way we can actually extend our lives, a better way of life, because that's how we progress as a society and as a human species, is that we progress that way. But healthcare is not a right.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Boy, I tell you what, this is the time to live, my friends. We are living in a day and age to where it is always an entertaining moment in some way, shape, or form. Why? Just because we can. Just because we have fun. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting as well on TV, KGPT TV channel 2610. Good morning. Welcome aboard. Simulcasting on YouTube, YouTubelive.com. Just go to YouTube.com, find KQAM Radio, subscribe to the page each and every day. Watch us live. Watch the podcast. Doesn't really matter. Welcome aboard. 316-721-8255. Give me a call up on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. What a day to live, a day and age to live in, isn't it? I mean, it's fun. It's frustrating. It's stupid at times, but yet it's still fun all at the same time wrapped up. Sometimes it gets so serious and so ridiculous and so absurd that you just have to laugh. There is the, according to NewsGrabian, Grabian.com, that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is back in the news again. Not quite sure why, but here it is.
Now time for the Crazy Cortez Corner.
It seems to be kind of a daily update on this fringe here, but Ocasio-Cortez on millennials, quote, "We're like the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change." Hello. According to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that if we don't address climate change now, which remember, she's the one that proposed the new Green Deal, where the massive overtake of private industry, massive overtake of manufacturing, massive overtake of tax rates at a 70% tax rate for most individuals to pay for climate change. If we don't do that and do a drastic measure and fight for it in her eyes, the world will end in 12 years. Now, I don't know if you remember or not, but Al Gore made a similar prediction back in, 2007, I believe it was? 2006, 2007. I was in high school, and I remember watching Inconvenient Truth, and our teachers made us watch it, so I watched it, and just to get the understanding of it, and I laughed all the way through it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. While Al Gore's sitting on the airplane, in his video, Inconvenient Truth, he's making all these videos. He's using electricity, using juice, using power to film himself while he's looking out of the window of a private airplane. I love it. He's talking about climate change in the script. He's talking about, he sees the smokestacks and he sees all the energy being used and how we're all going to ruin the earth. And then we see the pictures of the icebergs as they fall off and start melting, and all the different ice caps that are beginning to melt, and the sea levels rising, and all this garbage. And he's sitting there pondering about how he can fight this and how he can change it, while he's sitting on his private jet flying through the air, using up all that fuel and videotaping it with a computer and with a camera that uses electricity and battery power. And he's sitting there pondering how he can stop the use of climate change and how he can stop contributing to climate change. And I remember this scene very vividly because it stuck in me, and I laughed all the way through it. And when my teacher asked me the next day what I thought of Inconvenient Truth, I said, this is the biggest load of BS I've ever seen in my entire life. And my teacher got very upset with me because he was a little bit more on the left side of the aisle, and it was just very entertaining throughout the rest of the conversation. So now after that, we had the 10-year time frame, and I'm wondering if maybe we shouldn't do what like Rush Limbaugh did during the Al Gore time when he gave that 10-year timestamp, that we put a countdown on for 10 years in order to see what we're going to look like 10 years from now and if the world has officially ended. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, now that she is given the time frame of a 12-year period that we will all die in 12 years, according to her. And I think the part that the generation, I wonder if I can play the audio here. I don't know if I can or not. Oh, here we go. No, hold on here. Let's see if we can't. Got a little delay on there as well. All right, let's try this again. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as we are destroying ourselves at some kind of conference here. And
the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II. And
wow.
I think for younger people, we're looking at this and we're like, how are we saying let's take it easy when 3,000 Americans died last year? How are we saying let's take it easy when the nth person has just died from our cruel and unjust criminal justice system? How are we saying take it easy when the America that we're living in today is so dystopian, with people sleeping in their cars so that they can work a second job without health care?
What does that have to do with climate change?
It's a fundamental separation between, that fierce urgency of now, the why we can't wait that King spoke of, that at some point these chronic realities do reach a breaking point.
All right, so there it is. So we need to have a 70% tax rate to pay for climate change, because why would that be your question? How can we pay for it? We just have to do it because it's going to end in 12 years and we can't think about the cost of it. We just have to do it. At the same time, there are people that are living in their cars because they can't afford to live, and they're working two jobs because it's really expensive for them to actually live, and it's very difficult for them to survive in a system to where capitalism keeps them down and enslaves them. So we should tax those people that are suffering and living in their cars. We should tax them at a 70% rate because climate change doesn't stop no matter what we're doing, and they're suffering, so we need to punish them more while we try and stop climate change. Good Lord. She makes up the own jokes. Like, we don't even have to write jokes anymore in today's times. We don't have to have a Saturday Night Live. I don't have to be a creative screenwriter or a joke writer or a stand-up comic to come up with this BS that AOC comes up with each and every day. It's comical, it's hysterical, and she writes it for us. Thank you very much, AOC. You give me content each and every day. 316-721-8255. That's going on, so thanks a lot, AOC, for that one. Also, there is a concerning story. If you want to talk about something that is kind of interesting and a little bit concerning all at the same time, maybe. I don't know if it is. I think it is, at least. According to Today, USA Today read this story about U.S. women are not having enough babies to replace the population. And I saw this headline, and I thought, all of a sudden, I was flooded with so many different ways where we failed as a society. Number one, we have, of course, the movement that individuals try to be different genders to where they don't like to accept the biological genderism that they may be based on what God gave them when they were born, because they want to deny that because they feel that they're whatever oppressed or they're a victim or some degree of whatever, and they need to feel very special. So we have individuals changing that. That would probably relate to many not wanting to have babies. Then you have the women. And look, there's a difference between women empowerment and women feminism, I think. And there's a big difference between those two, just remind you. But there's a movement now to where women are so career focused, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm absolutely all in favor of women having career all that she wants to. All the power to you. That's fantastic. My wife is was a very brilliant banker. She had a way better career in banking than I ever did. And then she chose to be at home and have a family and raise the child and take care of the house and take care of me and that sort of thing. That's what she chose to do. But there are so many women that don't even want to have the family life anymore, that want to go towards the career. And then you have the food that we eat, and we have the pills that we take, and we have the different biological issues that we're having. And then we see this story, according to Today.com. The new government report shows that fertility rates in 2017 were 16% below what is needed for a population to at least even replace itself. Only 2 states, South Dakota and Utah, had rates above the replacement level. So we're going to see the rates decrease. Then we talk about abortion rates, even the ones that can actually have fertility enough to have children. Then we talk about abortion and when we're just getting rid of children. And it's kind of a concerning thing. Now, some actually like this because some at the higher ups, if you want to talk about population control, well, we don't have enough resources in the world, so we need to start looking at population control. You know, the Chinese, and I think they've repealed it to some degree, but had, the one-child law to where you can only have one child because of the population issue. And then, there are some that are just concerned about resources, or the environmentalists that think we're invading the, resources of the animals and how they're way more important than us. And there's some that like that. To me, though, I was always taught that that's, like human nature, is that we find a mate, that we populate, and that we grow out of lives, and we're supposed to increase our population as a human species. So, I don't know. Kind of interesting. But apparently, there are only 2 states that are actually have fertility rates high enough to actually replace its population. Every other state's about 16% lower, and we may begin seeing a decrease in the population. Is that an issue, or is that something that's good? And between all the factors in today's time, now I have to admit, too, there are times before when families used to have bigger and bigger and bigger families because they needed them for work. They needed them to work on the farm. That's just what they did. They didn't believe in contraception, so therefore we just had tons of children. And my generation as well, the millennial generation, is one to where we don't want a whole lot of children. Many of my generation don't want children at all. They want to live the bachelor style. They want to live just the 2 of them and just enjoy and go off and do their thing and just go on vacations and go travel the world and just go have fun and not have to worry about settling down with children running around and have that stability. And, excuse me, I felt kind of that way myself. We have our child, obviously, and I'm content. I'm happy. We have our child and we don't really need any more and want any more, and we're content. But my generation really doesn't like the large family mentality. So is it between the life choices? Is it between the fertility rates? Is it between the environmentalist population control or the attempt at population control? Is it the abortion issue? What's causing the potential decrease that could be happening down the road here soon of population in the U.S.? And is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? I don't know. That's kind of an interesting story that popped up as we look down the road. Remember, we have to start reminding ourselves and start training ourselves, doing the muscle memory kind of thing, to look further down the road as opposed to just a 1-year time frame. Laura Kelly. We have to look further down the road than just a 2-year time frame. Laura Kelly. And we have to actually look at 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road. Now, I know that we probably won't be in power at that time. The same individuals that are running things today probably, for the most part, won't be running things then either. But, that's why we have to look towards the next generation. And we can no longer be selfish as a society today and just enjoy and delay things, kicking the can down the road to enjoy the benefits of today and then messing up with the society tomorrow. Now, they try and say that's the issue with global warming and climate change is, we're just not addressing the issue today because we don't see the changes. But that's just a load of garbage when we actually have a serious issue here of maybe population issues or financial issues or, the KPERS problem here in Kansas or whatever. Just kick the can down the road and just let it be. And we can enjoy today because today we deserve to have a good lifestyle right now, and to hell with the lifestyle of our families and children down the road. I don't know. Kind of an interesting story this morning. 316-721-8255. Your thoughts and calls. We have a big show coming up today. Bryan, Frye, City Council member. He'll be joining as usual, 7:30 here in studio. Also at 8 o'clock, Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio, will be joining us from the SHOT Show. I filled in for his show last night as he was traveling to the SHOT Show. He'll give us a call on the air this morning and give us an update on what's going on out there. I'll be filling in for his show, by the way, again on Friday as he travels back from the SHOT Show. So looking forward to doing so again at the end of the week. Let's go to the phones here, shall we? Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Pete.
Hey, good morning, Pete. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Boy, you're loaded for bear this morning.
There's a lot to talk about.
I don't even know where to start. First off, Alexandria Mucho Loco Cortez.
Yes.
Look, there has never been a problem with health care in this country. We let the left get away with this. Health care is not the problem. It's who's going to pay for it. Are you going to pay for your own health care, or are you going to make someone else pay for it? That's what the issue is. And we need to keep it framed like that. Health care is not a problem. If someone gets hurt, someone needs health care, they, by law, cannot be turned away from the ER. Period. End of discussion.
Well, yeah, but come on, Pete. According to her, who cares who's going to pay for it? We just have to do it. Just like her trying to get that apartment in D.C., we just have to do it.
We are doing it. And to your point about population control, I've heard the stories you're talking about, and I thought about it. This is and you got to step back and look at it from a 40, 50-year perspective.
Sure.
This has been a insidious, meticulous attack on the basic foundation of the family. We have villainized men. We have turned women into militant man-haters who are more selfish about themselves. It's all me, 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 me. Not about the bigger picture. It's all about me, 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 me. What's good for me? What's good for me?
Sure.
And we've embraced mental defects with these transgenders. And what is happening is we have destroyed the foundation of the family.
Well, that's true, and you're right. I mean, we're being attacked by all angles. You're right.
And we're seeing the effect is now happening. We are starting to see it. This population decrease, you could have predicted it.
Sure.
And to another point, related to this population decrease, if all states are decreasing the number of children in their population, except Utah and you said North Dakota, all right, fine. Why does school funding keep skyrocketing?
There's the kicker right there. You're right. I mean, we see a decrease. Well, now it hasn't decreased yet, but I'm curious to see if we do begin to see a decrease in children going into the schooling system every year in each state, if we're going to see a decrease in the educational funding formulas across the state. That's a really good question. That's really interesting. I don't know. I doubt it.
And when you talk about Al Gore and his airplane, and you were right to look at him using all the carbon for his computer and his airplane, but I want you to think about this. How much carbon went to make that airplane, to mine that aluminum, to build those engines, for all the people to go to and from work, for the guy who made the rivets. I mean, you just think Al Gore is a fraud.
Well, you're right. And Pete, I appreciate it. We really got to take a break here, but you're absolutely right. And it's funny because the progressives, when they watched it, and we talked about this in class, and it was a government class that we watched the video for, and we came back in, and the progressives, they were teared up, and they were crying, and they thought it was just the most traumatizing video they've ever seen in their life, and they couldn't believe the fact that we're doing this to our environment, and we're doing this to the earth, and that we're doing this to ourselves, and that we're destroying the world that we live in, and how we need to fix this. And I came in laughing, and they were so angry at me, so angry. They could not believe that I wasn't completely taken aback and gasping about and apologizing for the way I live in this sense. And you're right. I mean, there's a lot of factors, especially with the population control, when it comes to not only the beta male. Oh, if you're attracted to females, then you're probably going to harass her or rape her because you have too much toxic masculinity. You're not allowed to have that. You shouldn't be attracted to women like that. Only the women should be. When they're willing and ready, they should have the dominant control and come after you in that sense. But even then they want the male to be attracted to them, which then turns into the masculinity again. But then even just the medical issues. I mean, this story itself was just the fact that the fertility rates were low. Why is that? Was it because of the lifestyle? Is it because of the life choices? Is it because of our food? Is it because of certain issues? But fertility rates, if they're that low in all the states, that's a concerning issue. Got to take a break. 25 minutes past the hour. We got some other calls on the line. Interesting topics this morning. Let's cover the full gamut today. We have a lot to get to, national and statewide. I do have some cases or some stories on immigration here in Kansas opposed to nationwide. We have some backlogs on the immigration cases going through the legal system. We also have some numbers on the Medicaid expansion. You want to talk about health care and the price of it? We'll talk about that later on in the show today, too. Lots to get to here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Meade. Well, there's still time to express concern over current milk labeling standards for non-dairy products, such as plant-based products that are advertised as milk. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is accepting comments until January 28th. New York dairy farmer Peter Dupengeiser says the goal is to enforce fairness in labeling so that products made from nuts, seeds, and plants do not use dairy terms.
We just feel like that sends a very misleading message to the consumer, because when they hear milk or dairy products, they make certain assumptions about its quality, its wholesomeness, its nutritional value, and these other products are not equal. And they're not equal in cost, they're not equal in nutritional value.
Plant-based products labeled as milk are causing much confusion in the dairy aisle for consumers and for dairy farmers left struggling to turn a profit producing real milk.
But I can also sympathize with a consumer who has lots of choices to make and doesn't have that information, which is another reason why this is so important that labeling is correct, so that at least by the label they can realize there's a distinction there.
He says these types of standards and product transparency are already in place in neighboring countries.
And ironically, our neighbors to the north in Canada, that's not allowed. So there could be two identical products from the same company marketed in the U.S. and marketed in Canada. And in the U.S., they could call it milk, and in Canada, they would have to call it a beverage.
Dupengeiser says the dairy industry has made great strides in bringing this conversation to the forefront and invites all producers to submit their comments before the January 28th deadline. You, of course, can find out more by going online and visiting fda.gov to learn more. FDA.gov. Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network.
Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, your one-stop shop to keep you comfortable as the coldest months of the season make their way to Kansas. Something for everyone that you might be needing this time of year. From many forms of heaters, ice melt, snow shovels, insulation kits for sealing up those drafts in doors and windows, and bird feeders and feed to keep the feathered friends happy this winter. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize. We're much, much more than just a hardware store. Shrug off that cold this winter with Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, where we take pride in serving you.
Attention co-op members. In conjunction with Countryside Motors in Wellington, all co-op members and their families qualify for additional rebates on Chevrolet, Buick, Hustler turf equipment, and Polaris vehicles. This exclusive fleet rebate program is only being offered by Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Offers are not being published to the general public. They are available to co-op members in Kansas or Oklahoma. For full details, contact Countryside Motors in Wellington at 620-326-7433 or online at countrysidemotors.net.
Wichita's morning newsman. Your latest news with Rick is on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Welcome back in. Bottom of the hour news coming up. One a little long in that last segment. That's all right, though. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Got the phones all lit up this morning. I love it. Stay there. We'll get to you as soon as we come back from the bottom of the hour break. Hey, check out, by the way, YouTube Live blowing up on there this morning as well. A lot of people jumping on, wanting to listen to what the heck's happening because, hey, we're stirring the pot a little bit. We're getting into the serious issues here, and we're going to have some fun doing it. Bottom of the hour news coming up. Stay right here. This is The Voice of Reason.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
Paul Whelan, the former U.S. Marine being held by the Russians on spy charges, was denied bail in a Moscow courtroom this morning. Afghanistan is reeling from a Taliban attack on a military base in the country's east that killed at least 45 people and wounded more than 70, mostly military personnel and trainees. Well, there's going to be a break in the frigid temperatures, as meteorologist Chad Myers tells us.
Well, we do warm up a little bit today compared to yesterday, but much warmer tomorrow and Thursday, so there's some good news. Temperatures right now are just ridiculous for pets and people out there. Temperatures, wind chill factors somewhere around 0 all across the Northeast right now.
But snow will create difficult travel from Nebraska and Kansas to northern regions of Minnesota and Michigan, and the deep freeze will return by the weekend for many areas. In Wake Forest, North Carolina, a teenager who threatened to shoot the parents of third graders is due in court today. 18-year-old Isaiah David Napier was arrested yesterday. Stock futures down as Wall Street returns from holiday. I'm Michael Toscano.
All money managers might seem the same, but while some give their clients cookie-cutter portfolios, Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to your goals and needs. Some only call when they have something to sell. Fisher calls regularly, so you stay informed. And while some advisors are happy to earn commissions whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come from other money managers. So if you're in or nearing retirement, talk with us and find out why investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Tuesday. 2 people were killed in a 2-vehicle accident early yesterday on U.S. Highway 400, 2 miles east of Parsons. The Kansas Highway Patrol says a pickup truck crossed the center line and struck another pickup truck. KTV reports those killed in the accident were 21-year-old Jolie Hutto of Mound Valley and 62-year-old Charles Wass of Parsons. Police officials in the city of Lawrence say all officers in the department should be wearing body cameras by sometime this summer. The Lawrence Journal-World reports 10 officers with support from 4 staff members have been testing the cameras since November. Police Captain Trent McKinley says the department will evaluate the test results early next month and then select a camera vendor. He said the department expects the cameras will be deployed this summer after staff is trained. And another storm bringing snow and blizzard-like conditions across northwest Kansas as we speak. Mid-America Network News.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios.
No payments till 2020, only at Rusty Eck Ford.
Family-owned, customer-friendly. This is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change, brakes, exhaust, radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
Attend the Kansas Corn Symposium Wednesday, January 23rd in Manhattan, focusing on ethanol and trade issues and celebrating the accomplishments of Kansas corn growers. The afternoon and evening of January 23rd in Manhattan. Register today at kscorn.com. Then stay for the Kansas Commodity Classic on January 24th, joining Kansas corn, wheat, sorghum, and soybean growers to hear top ag speakers and lunch with keynote market speaker Matt Roberts. Visit kscorn.com to register and learn more. That's kscorn.com.
Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM. Catch Andy Hoosier morning 6 to 9. Mike Gallagher 9 to noon. The Dana Show live noon till 2. Dave Ramsey 2 to 5. And Joe Pags 5 to 8. Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a slight chance of drizzle, cloudy with the temperature falling to around 27 by 5 p.m. Winds gusting this afternoon over 35 miles an hour. Cloudy but clearing for tonight, low around 21. Wind gusts over 30 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:35, it's currently 47 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. Patriotism is alive and well.
Laura Kelly wants Medicaid expansion. The progressive extremists want Medicaid expansion. And what did we do? We just elected a majority leader that's supposed to lead the Republican Party, set the tone for the Republican Party, and he is leading them under the flag of saying we are not going to support Medicaid expansion.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Oh, man, we live in fun times today, don't we? Welcome in. 36 minutes past the hour, advancing conservatism on a usually daily basis. Just kidding. This half hour of The Voice of Reason brought to you by Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop. Be a rock star today on your way to work. Pick up a dozen donuts from Lamar's. Great way to start each and every morning. Surprise your coworkers, employees, employers. Doesn't really matter. Have some fun with it. 3 locations just south of Rock and K96. One at Tyler and Mays. The other on Harry on the east side of Hillside. Try them. You'll definitely like them. Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop online as well at lamars.com. Phones are lit up, so let's go right to the ABC Recycling hotlines this morning, shall we? Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning. This is Bruce.
Bruce, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Oh, doing good. Hey, you're talking about the birth rate and all that.
Yes.
And one fellow brought up the point about how come the schools taxes are going up for schools and all that. Well, just look at the statistics. 25% of the kids in elementary school are Hispanic. They're not up here legally, but yet we're paying for it. We're paying for it through excessive taxes. Now, the other issue is that, our birth rate's down, and that happens with every modern society. You know, you look at the ancient Romans, and there's piles of baby bodies where they just didn't want a baby. They just threw them in a pile and got rid of them.
Sure.
Okay? And look what happened in the Roman Empire. They failed. They died off. Okay? Statistically, we're getting to the point where we cannot survive as a civilization any longer. And I think we're seeing it with all the Hispanics coming up here. America's becoming a Hispanic country.
Well, I wouldn't even just say I wouldn't even say
country.
Sure, I wouldn't even just say Hispanic. I would say that we're having so many people come from all over the world that we're spending more money on the trying to be bilingual and trying to teach the same thing in 5 different languages at one time. So the resources are becoming more expensive to teach. A third of what we used to teach before at 5 times the rate kind of thing. So you're right. I mean, we're seeing a lot of expenses go out in that sense. It's just sad to me, and not, again, whether it's life choices because they choose not to have children. Again, my millennial generation, we're more about let's just enjoy either being the bachelor or the bachelorette and going about and doing our thing, or having our spouse, but then going and traveling the world, not really being tied down with a family, not have to be stuck in, oh, hey, there's school year, we got to have the kids in school kind of thing. And again, I'm so glad that I have, obviously, my 4-year-old, but I don't want a large family. I kind of like my small little family like that, and that's the way I've always kind of felt. And I think my generation has done that, as opposed to the generations before. We're like, hey, let's have 8 kids because we got a big-ass farm to work, and we need some kids to help out.
Well, I understand what you're saying there, but your attitude, and I see lots of people with it, reflects a level of selfishness.
Exactly.
Where you want to take care of yourself and have fun and not raise a family. Well,
sure.
If you don't do your part and have 2 or 3 kids, then this country is going to fall apart and succumb to the rest of the world. I mean, we're going to succumb to all the illegal immigrants coming up here. We're going to succumb to Islam. We've already got 2 female congresswomen that are Muslim. All right,
sure.
And they are disproportionately represented in Congress for the population of Muslims in this country.
Sure.
And that is because they are forcing the issue and forcing their way into our politics in order to take over. And if we do not get our birth rate back up and do away with abortion, because 99.9% of abortions aren't necessary, they're out there for convenience sake.
Right.
All right,
you're right.
And we need to call liberals what they are. They're baby killers. They wanted to call Vietnam veterans baby killers. They're baby killers. Liberals that are pro-abortion are baby killers.
Sure.
Period.
No, you're right. And you're right. I mean, it falls into a selfishness mentality. And I admit I fall into that with my generation as well. And then the ones that do want to have children, then we see just the fertility rates low, whether it's a medical issue, whether it's a hormonal issue, whether it's a food issue, whether it's a genetics issue. I don't know what it is, but even the ones that try to have children now are having difficult times even doing so. So I think there's another layer or another factor going on as well, other than the cultural side of I want to be selfish, or if you're a male that's attracted to a female because biologically you want to mate, then you're full of toxic masculinity. Other than the social aspect of it, there's also a medical side of this as well that I think is affecting us too.
You take a look at some studies that there's over-the-counter painkillers and stuff that we've been taking since the 60s and 70s that now they're starting to link to the infertility issue.
Sure. There's a lot to it.
And low male sperm counts.
Absolutely. Hey, I appreciate the call very much. No, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it. And according to with the population of the education system, again, I don't think that we've seen the effects of that yet on the education system. There's still a lot of children in school, obviously. I mean, we saw, well, I take that back. I mean, even in Kansas here, we saw, what was the stat we read every once in a while with the 78, 75 different school districts in the state where there were a decrease in the children population, but then we increased the administrative state. That's where the money's going. Again, it's not going towards the classroom. The point we've been trying to make is that when we talk about educational finance, it's not going to the classroom for the children, and we actually did see a decrease in the population of the children in the classroom in many districts, but yet we saw an increase in the number of administrators. So it's even starting to affect us here, even on the home front in the state of Kansas. Kind of interesting, eh? Let's go back to the phones here, shall we? Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, konnichiwa, revered master.
Mr. Sean, I tell you what, you caused a bit of a stir on Friday.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's starting off the show with, saying the deal in German and then getting the progressives all fired up. Now, according to the progressives that listened to the show when James Thompson was on, that you and everybody that associates with the show are now a bunch of Nazis. So appreciate that.
Hey, I was already a Nazi and a racist, sexist, bigot, misogynist, homophobe, Islamophobe, transphobe, arachnophobe, and whatever other kind of phobes that are out there.
No, sure. Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, that's a liberal for you, man. They ain't got no sense of humor. So,
well, not only a sense of humor, they don't get the purpose of it. I mean, when you say these things, and again, I tried to explain this on social media. I don't know why I tried to explain it on social media, but when we say these types of things, it's not a ha-ha joke, but it's kind of the reminder that the progressives have acted like Nazis for many, many years now, with them trying to create this whole Antifa movement that if you disagree with me, then we have the legit right to physically try to harm you and silence you. And, I mean, we're seeing fascism in full-fledged uniforms today, and it's not from the conservative side of the aisle.
Yeah, well, if I caused you any grief, I certainly apologize. Because I don't want to cause you no grief.
No. It's just I found it interesting that was the one takeaway out of the 45-minute interview we did with James Thompson to try and have. And look, I love trying to reach across the aisle. I love to try and debate. I love to try and have fun and dialogue with someone across the other side of the aisle. And I thought we had a very decent conversation that hour on Friday. And that was the one takeaway social media ran with was, oh, yeah, there was a caller that said something in German like that about Nazis, and therefore the talk show host and all the listeners are now Nazis.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was the one takeaway they had from it.
I heard him try to make something of it, man. It's like, see, no sense of humor.
Good Lord. So, anyways, good morning. What's on your mind, Sean?
Oh, man. Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, so what are we talking about this morning? What's the topic?
Well, did you? I'm sure you heard the audio from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Let me see if I can play this again. She was at some kind of convention or conference. She was up on a panel discussion, and just like Al Gore gave us the 10-year frame that climate change was going to kill us all in 10 years, she has now given us a 12-year window.
The world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And like, this is the war. This is our World War II. And I think for younger people, we're looking at this and we're like, how are we saying let's take it easy when 3,000 Americans died last year? How are we saying let's take it easy when the nth person has just died from our cruel and unjust criminal justice system? How are we saying take it easy when the America that we're living in today is so dystopian, with people sleeping in their cars so that they can work a second job without health care, and we're told to settle down? It's a fundamental separation between, that fierce urgency of now, the why we can't wait that King spoke of.
There it is. So people are living in their cars and this dystopia of evil, terrible capitalism that ruins people and enslaves them, but yet we probably need a 70% tax rate to fight climate change because we only have 12 years to solve it, and if we don't, then we shouldn't be worried about the cost of it. We should just figure out a way to do it. Come on, Sean.
My, oh God, dude, this tops. I don't think she can top herself on stupidity on this one.
Oh, yeah, she surprises us every single day.
And we need to do a CAT scan and see if there's a brain up there in her skull, and if there is, what size is it? Because it's something not right. There's something ain't right going on up there, man.
Well, I think we're seeing not only a lack of fertility in many cases, but we're also going backwards on the evolution scale as well, and our brains are getting smaller again. So there is that going on. Sean, I appreciate it. We got to take a break here. We're running late on one. But, yeah, we are in the world of this is apparently normal.
Now time for the Crazy Cortez Corner.
And that apparently is going to be what carries us on with leadership and governmental representation at the federal level for a while. We got a ways to fix some stuff, don't we? We have some work to do on our hands. Got to take a break here. Got some other calls on the line. Stay here. We'll get to you as soon as we come back. We'll wrap up this conversation. The population issue with the fertility rates. Is that an issue, or is it a good thing that maybe we're not using as many resources in a time where many resources are being very strained? So we'll talk about some of that. Plus, the deportation cases in the court system being backlogged, not only because of the government shutdown where they want to affect the actual immigration courts, but also here in Kansas, a 580-day waiting period for cases. We'll talk about some of that. Plus, we'll have the prices for Medicaid going on in the state of Kansas, what it's really going to look like compared to other states that have had to go through this as well. Big stuff going on today. It's The Voice of Reason on a Tuesday. Stay right here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Markets took a break for the Martin Luther King holiday on Monday. Back in business today. We'll begin at 8:30 open time. Corn futures saw most contracts steady to 2 cents higher Friday. Futures were up 0.93% on the week. They saw a couple of sizable swings. March corn closed at 381 3/4, up 1 3/4. May corn closed at 390, up 2 cents. Soybean futures posted 8 to 9 cent gains in most nearby contracts on Friday. March was 0.71% higher on the entire week. We'll see how things begin as we start again today at open at about 8:30. March soybeans closed at 9.16 3/4, up 9 cents. May beans were up 9 cents at 9:30. And wheat futures ended Friday with most contracts steady to 2 1/4 cents higher. Chicago wheat closed at 5.17 3/4. That was dead even. March Kansas City wheat finished Friday at 5.06, up 2 cents. Live cattle futures closed with 35 to 65 cent gains on Friday in most contracts. February was down 57.5 cents though. Feeder cattle futures were steady to 30 cents higher as March was a dime lower. So it was a mixed day Friday in the cattle complex. February live cattle closed at 126.52, down 57. April closed at 127.37, up 47. January feeder cattle 141.45, up 2 cents. March feeder cattle were at 142.82, down a dime, and April was up 17 at 144.40. So we saw mixed numbers across cattle on Friday. Hog futures posted 37.5 cents to $1.65 gains in most contracts. Friday, February hogs closed at 61.22, up 37. April hogs closed at 66.27, up 165. So it was a mostly positive day for hogs. Cotton futures were 20 to 48 points lower in most contracts Friday, so not a good day for cotton. We'll see how things turn out today as we begin a new week. Market update, Mid-America Ag Network.
MJ's Truck Repair at Exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, America is the largest full-service truck center between Wichita and Salina in central Kansas. Truckers in the know already know, and ag people from miles around know they can turn to MJ's Truck Repair for repair and parts for their tractors, combines, and hay equipment. You construction types, listen up. Skid steers, backhoes, forklifts, bulldozers, and payloaders, MJ's of Mound Ridge is also your construction equipment, parts, and repair headquarters. Find MJ's on the web at mjstruckrepair.com.
Professional excavators and homeowners, safety always comes first, and safe digging is no accident. So before you begin your next digging project, remember to call Kansas 811 to have your underground utility lines marked for free. Know what's below. Call 811 before you dig. So play it safe, put down the shovel, pick up the phone, and call 811 first. This message is brought to you by Kansas 811, reminding you that no matter if your digging project is big or small, don't make a judgment call. Always call 811 before you dig.
To look and feel great and have a successful life, a well-balanced smile is essential. The magic of dentistry provides a great smile and the basis for a healthy life. At Leatherman Dental, they aren't magicians, but they put a great smile on thousands of faces. And it's more than whitening or even straightening. It's being sure the smile is balanced. The dentists at Leatherman Dental take the time to know you, to know the condition of your teeth, and they offer options to give you one healthy, great smile. Magicians? No, but you'll think so when you're done. Leatherman Dental, Woodlawn and 37th Street, or call it 316-685-5121.
You've seen and heard every song and dance in the area from the big boys about new windows and doors. It's one great deal after another. Do you want a great deal or a great window? Oh, do you want it installed right? Mike Golden, the Golden Window and Door Expert, call him. He is personally involved with every estimate, every installation, and your total satisfaction. So here's the plan. Call Mike Golden, the Window and Door Expert, 316-409-6981. Write it down, 316-409-6981. It's worth the call. Ask for references, see the golden difference. Write it down, 316-409-6981. Best pricing on windows and doors in Kansas, guaranteed. Call Mike. He'll prove it.
Scott Child's Old Time Clock Shop, 1946 West 13th Street in the heart of Riverside. It's not just a name of a shop. Scott Child started the shop back in 1974. He has perhaps the best inventory of all kinds of clocks that he's ever had in his business. That means great selection for you. If you've never checked it out, you owe it to yourself. Scott Child's Old Time Clock Shop.
You're listening to The Big Talker, KQAM 1480 AM and 102.5 FM Wichita.
Seven minutes to the top of the hour. Welcome back into The Voice of Reason, wrapping up hour number one. It goes by way too fast. Didn't even get to half of what I wanted to talk about. That just means we have to cram for the next couple hours. Hey, by the way, there is a bill with our new legislative update going on from the legislative session 2019, House Bill 2036, regarding the Second Amendment, as they are repealing a former law related to the use of state-appropriated monies to lobby on gun control issues. What does that mean? That means as of right now, it is illegal in the state of Kansas to use state-funded money, tax money, to have a lobbyist to advocate for gun control. Not allowed to do that. Now we have the KSRA, the Kansas State Rifle Association, that does have a lobbyist in Topeka advocating for pro-Second Amendment issues, which is a very good thing, but that's not taxpayer money funded. That is donation funded based on a private organization. This bill would allow taxpayer money, your money, to actually hire a lobbyist to try and advocate for gun control issues. Just to let you know, it's one page, it's like one paragraph, and it just says an act to repeal the supporting bill, yada, 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 relating to the use of state-appropriated monies to lobby on gun control issues. This act shall take effect and be forced from after its publications in the statute book. So there you go. Latest bill that's been proposed in our state House of Representatives to repeal the law banning state taxpayer money-funded lobbyists to advocate for gun control. Isn't that kind of a conflict of interest? I would think it would be, wouldn't it? To say that your taxpayer money would be funding something that advocates against the Constitution. Second Amendment, you have the right to keep and bear arms, and it shall not be infringed, period, end of story. That's it. And now we have we would have a taxpayer-funded lobbyist paid for by your pay money, your paycheck, your tax money, to fund their paycheck to advocate for our legislators to try and vote for bills that actually restrict your right to carry firearms. That's kind of like a conflict of interest, at least to me. I would think so. I don't know. That's a little crazy. 316-721-8255. Let's sneak in some phone calls before we wrap up hour number one. Line number one. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, Andy. This is Helen.
Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Well, fear not, Andy. The earth is not going to go away.
I don't know. AOC says that it's going to happen in 12 years.
Well, is she wiser than God? No, I don't think so. Psalms 78:69, and he, God, built his sanctuary like high palaces, like the earth which he hath established forever. And true Christians will inherit the earth. And so, of course, we're not going to always be in flesh and blood, because flesh and blood cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Sure.
But in God's kingdom of heaven is coming to earth. His favorite place in the universe is in Jerusalem. So it's just...
There you go.
She's in for a huge shock.
I don't know. Here's what I think we should do, just like what Rush Limbaugh did during the Al Gore's time of trying to say that we were going to have the sea levels rise and all the coasts would be down in 10 years. I think we should do a countdown for 12 years from now. She said it, 12 years from now, that we're going to have the end of the world unless we actually spend money to fix climate change issues. And it doesn't matter what the cost is. You shouldn't be concerned about the cost. You just need to deal with it. Even if you're living in your car and you're a victim of capitalism, where you have to work for a low wage and the evil corporate owners get profits. That's a terrible system to live in. So what we should do is we should tax everybody, including that person living in their car who can't afford health care, who's under the system of victimhood in a capitalist system. We should tax everybody at a 70% rate, because that's just what we have to do. Why would you even question the cost of the price to try and fight climate change when this is just what we have to do? That's just what we have to do. Come on, you just need to get on board, and if you don't, you're probably a racist, you're probably a bigot, and you probably just don't care about the earth in any way, shape, or form, right?
The world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And
yes. And then, well, your
biggest
concern
issue is your biggest issue is, how are we going to pay for it? And
oh my gosh, I can't believe you even thought about something like that. That's crazy. Your biggest issue is the cost of it? It's going to end in 12 years. All right, there it is, the voice of reason. We're going to find a way to put a countdown clock on the Voice of Reason page on KQAMradio.com. There it is. It's going to go up in the next few days. Get ready for it as we do the countdown for 12 years and see whether Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, is correct. The world will end in 12 years. Are we prepared for such a catastrophe?
Now time for the Crazy Cortez Corner.
She writes the script herself. It's crazy. 316-721-8255. Coming up, hour number 3, we have lots to get to that I tried to get to this hour. We didn't get a chance to do so. In Kansas City, and I don't remember if I talked about this or not. I don't think I have. But as we see the government shutdown continue on, and now the government shutdown even affecting the immigration courts. Yeah, let me get that straight. The immigration courts, as we're fighting border security, we have shut down the court system to try and look at immigration cases, which means illegal aliens that are here, which means individuals that have expired visas. They're all being delayed, as they were already being delayed, are now going to be delayed even further. In Kansas City, deportation cases can take up to 580 days to close. 580 days. How many years is that? A year and a half, 2 years to be deported, to go to a court, to go to a judge, and to be deported. And we wonder why we have an immigration problem. That's the issue we have to address. That's why this is a serious issue. That's why, yes, Donald Trump is right. This is a crisis. That's happening here in Kansas. 580 days to get you deported. That's a problem. Hour number 2, The Voice Reason, coming up. Stay here.
Hello, I'm Bryan Davis.
And I'm Blake Davis.
Every day is special at Davis Liquor Outlet.
But Thursdays are extra special, 20% off wine.
And every day of the week, you can take 25% off wine cases.
See these specials and others on our website
at davisliquoroutlet.com.
Each store independently owned and operated.
This is Phil Martinez from Phil's Coins. It's sad when it happens, but there are still businesses out there that will try the old bait and switch. They'll promise you one thing to get you in and then deliver far less, or something totally different once you're there. At Phil's Coins, when we say we buy, sell, and trade with honesty and integrity, that's exactly what we mean. In fact, I encourage you to shop the competition first. It will make doing business with Phil's Coins like a walk in the park. Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central.
Rumor has it there's a big bowl game coming up.
That could be super.
At Davis Liquor Outlet.
We are your strong beer headquarters.
In addition to coupons online every day,
check out our Tuesdays with 10% off cases of beer. Learn more
at davisliquoroutlet.com.
Each store independently owned and operated.
This is a Steckline Communications Station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for the latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by The Laundry Station, Kansas's premier laundry services provider in the Wichita area. Centrally located on Oliver at Kellogg. The Laundry Station.
Good Tuesday morning. A Wichita woman has died after a crash into a semi and bridge rail in western Kansas. The Kansas Highway Patrol says the accident happened just after 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon in Finney County. The Kansas Highway Patrol reports a Honda Civic driven by 50-year-old Tu-Yen Win of Wichita was northbound on U.S. Highway 83 2 miles south of Garden City when her vehicle crossed the center line, striking a semi in the axle of the tractor, then the axle of the trailer. KHP says the Honda continued northbound and struck a bridge guardrail. Wynn was transported to St. Catherine Hospital in Garden City where she died. The semi-driver, 59-year-old Douglas Brittenham of North Platte, was not injured. Wichita police say a 9-year-old boy visiting friends at a South Wichita mobile home park yesterday morning died from a single gunshot wound. Wichita police say they were called to the report of a shooting around 8:20 yesterday morning at the Stonegate Mobile Home Park at 2201 East MacArthur. The child was found dead from a single gunshot wound, and police believe he was accidentally shot by his 11-year-old friend after the two got into a gun safe. There were 4 other children in the home at the time of the shooting, ranging in age from 9 to 16 years old. The Kansas Humane Society said it set a record for the number of homes or placements it found for animals last year. The agency says it placed just over 11,200 animals and had a 94% save rate last year. The Humane Society said its save rate increased by 50% since it moved into its new facility in Wichita in 2009. Hundreds of people turned out at Wichita State's Hughes Metroplex yesterday to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. KSN-TV reports the auditorium was filled to capacity. The annual event is hosted by the Wichita Ministerial League. I'm Rick Everett from the news desk. Now to the sports desk and Doug Downs.
The Big 12 has proven to be one of the toughest basketball conferences in the country, with 4 teams tied atop the Big 12 until last night's win with Kansas beating Iowa State 80-76. The Kansas State Wildcats also have a chance tonight to shake up those standings as K-State and Texas Tech will go at it at Bramlage Coliseum. That is a game you can hear on KQAM starting at 5 p.m. Wichita State's in action as well tonight. They will travel down to South Florida to try to get back on the winning track. Wichita State and South Florida will tip off at 7 o'clock. We will have Shocker Sound Off starting at 5 from Twin Peaks East. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Winter is here.
And Continental Truck Accessories has what your truck needs to help get any job done.
Sure, we have toppers and lids, cargo storage systems,
vaults, bed covers, Nerf bars, and grill guards.
But
we also carry affordable snow sport snow plows for your truck or ATV.
With our affordable products and installation,
satisfaction is a guarantee.
Stop by our showroom at 6701 South Broadway.
Or call Continental Truck Accessories, your authorized Penske truck leasing agent. Continental Truck Accessories.
When it comes to cleaning homes, dust, grime, and soap scum don't stand a chance when a team of highly trained dirt assassins from the Maids hit the scene. ruthlessly efficient. Trained in a 22-step process perfected through years of practice by the maids. These masters of messes have only one motto: we fight dirty. Call now for a free estimate and schedule every other week service. Call the maids, 316-832-9058, or visit maids.com.
Crop producers, you know you can produce a higher crop yield while reducing the impact on valuable natural resources, including water supplies and soil, with the proper nutrition and management. Tyree Ag partners with AgroLiquid Fertilizers and Pioneer Seed with the goal of prospering the farmer while safeguarding the environment. Tyree Ag offers quality aerial and ground applications, precision ag services, and a broad selection of crop protection and biostimulant products serving South Central Kansas and Northwest Oklahoma. Visit Tyree Ag today at tyreeag.com.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
Paul Whelan, the former U.S. Marine being held by the Russians on spy charges, was denied bail in a Moscow courtroom this morning. Afghanistan is reeling from a Taliban attack on a military base in the country's east that killed at least 45 people and wounded more than 70, mostly military personnel and trainees. Well, there's going to be a break in the frigid temperatures, as meteorologist Chad Myers tells us.
Well, we do warm up a little bit today compared to yesterday, but much warmer tomorrow and Thursday, so there's some good news. Temperatures right now are just ridiculous for pets and people out there. Temperatures, wind chill factors somewhere around zero all across the Northeast right now.
But snow will create difficult travel from Nebraska and Kansas to northern regions of Minnesota and Michigan, and the deep freeze will return by the weekend for many areas. In Wake Forest, North Carolina, a teenager who threatened to shoot the parents of third graders is due in court today. 18-year-old Isaiah David Napier was arrested yesterday. Stock futures down as Wall Street returns from holiday. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road. The Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a slight chance of drizzle, cloudy with the temperature falling to around 27 by 5 p.m. Winds gusting this afternoon over 35 miles an hour. Cloudy but clearing for tonight, low around 21. Wind gusts over 30 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 47 degrees.
I'm America's Digital Pro, Kim Commando. Join me Sunday, 11 to 2, right here on the Big Talker, KQAM.
It's time for Reason.
We need to have options. Now, healthcare is not a right. Let me repeat that. Healthcare is not a right. But as a civilized society, as a first world country, we need to have options for healthcare so that way we can actually extend our lives, a better way of life, because that's how we progress as a society and as a human species, is that we progress that way. But healthcare is not a right.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
When I get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Hour number 2 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker. 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV as well, KGPT TV, channel 2610. Good morning. Welcome aboard. It's an honor to have you along for the ride today on a Tuesday, the greatest day of the week. It is the post-Monday. Let's have a little fun today. What do you say? 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. You can join in on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. This half hour, The Voice of Reason, brought to you by Countryside Motors. They have the complete service parts department for your Polaris or Hustler equipment. Countryside Motors, just down the road in Wellington. Online as well at countrysidemotors.net. That's, again, countrysidemotors.net. Welcome in. Lots to get to today. We have Bryan Frye coming up in just a little bit here at the bottom of the hour. We have Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio. We'll try and get him on the show at 8. I think he's going to do it. He is, yesterday, if you remember, I filled in for Mark Walters on his show last night because he was traveling to the SHOT Show, and that's why we wanted to get him on, is to get an update from the SHOT Show. He should be calling in at about 8 o'clock this morning, but that is a little early at 6 a.m. on the West Coast. So we'll see if he actually wakes up to do that, and we'll give him a hard time if he does not. But we should be having him on the show here in just a little bit. But until then, open lines to you at 316-721-8255. We've covered a lot of ground so far this morning, mostly federal news, but here, let's bring it back down to the local side as we start debating in the state legislature and our predictions of the year.
Andy's Predictions.
There we are. The predictions of the day as we start looking ahead in the legislative session. Will we be passing major reforms at the statewide level according to the agenda of Governor Laura Kelly? My prediction is no, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. We see right now some major issues that are going on between the, of course, KPERS plan, which is getting a lot of heat from the leaders in our pension plan system. Now, look, I'm all for, first off, reforming. Let's just put it out there. As a conservative, as a limited government individual, I am all for reforming our KPERS plan. I think that they are way too big a Cadillac plans. I think they should be privatized pension plans just like anybody else, and I think that we should not be having some crazy, awesome Cadillac packages for state employees. I'm just saying, and I know that a lot of people may be very upset with that comment because many people may be receiving KPERS. But in order for it to be sustainable for the state of Kansas, that does not turn us into an Illinois situation where we have a 40% tax rate to try and get us back on track because the state of Illinois had to file bankruptcy because their KPERS plans or their pension plan in the state of Illinois bankrupt the state. And they did exactly what Laura Kelly has just proposed by kicking the can down the road, by trying to delay our KPERS payments, by trying to change the payments so we can save some immediately, but then we run into $7 billion that we have to pay back. Andy, what does that mean? That means when, like a student loan payment, when you delay the payments, you do a deferment, you do a forbearance, and, well, you know what? We're in a hardship temporarily. We can save $100 a month right now if we do that forbearance as of right now. In the long run, as the interest begins to accrue, because as you know, like Sallie Mae or Navient or whatever it is today, has a ridiculously high interest rate at like 9-10%. At least that's what mine is. If you delay those, which I have done, and you talk to Dave Ramsey about doing stupid things, everybody's done them. At the same time, you start to wake up and realize, wow, I did the delayed payment, I did the forbearance, I did the deferment. Now I have interest that accrued on it. My original balance was $10,000. Now it's $18,000, and now I have to pay that back while the interest is still accruing. So now I've just had to pay more money. That's exactly what they're trying to do with KPERS. Let's delay the payments. Let's push it back. Let's save some money immediately so we can expand our spending in our budget, and then we'll pay it back later. It'll be fine. When now we're going to be in the whole close to $7 billion in the long term with the interest that accrues on it, with the payments we're going to have to pay, with the expansion of the program. It's going to be ridiculous. All for it just to be able to save $145 million in the next 2 years. Does that make any sense to anybody? So we're getting a lot of heat from that, and I don't see that plan actually happening. Hopefully the legislature looks at that, crumples it up into a ball, and puts it into the filing cabinet in the corner that gets taken out every week. So we have that going on. I don't see that plan happening. If we do pass it, then we have a lot of work to do as a Republican-led legislature in both chambers. I'm just saying. Then we have the Medicaid expansion bill. And again, on my prediction there, I don't see it happening. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't know. I really hope. Let's just say that. I don't think it's not going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. As Laura Kelly, in her budget projection or in her budget proposal, proposed a $14 million allocation for Medicaid expansion, the expansion of CanCare. I look at some of the other states that have expanded this. And just in the first year of these states expanding it, every single one of them, or at least the majority of them, went over their budget dramatically. Now, her proposal says that we allocate $14 million to Medicaid expansion. Then the federal government takes up 90% of the bill. So no matter what the bill may come out like in the end of it, then we just compensate a little bit, and then the federal government takes over the large chunk. Now, if every state begins to do this, how do we afford it? Because they say that we're losing out on close to $3 billion over the last 5 or 6 years, and that we're losing out money that was our money that we gave to the federal government that should be coming back to us, and it's not coming back to us. But if every state expands, if every state expands their government program, their Medicaid program, whatever it is, privatized, non-privatized, whatever, and it all goes over budget, where does the money go? The federal government begins to run into a further, now we're already $23 trillion in debt, so, it's not like it's going to really bankrupt us there, because we're already bankrupt. But what's going to happen? We're going to run further into debts. The federal government's going to not compensate, and then we get to foot the bill at the federal and at the statewide levels. I mean, for example, Alaska, in its first year of Medicaid expansion, went 42% over budget, which included $61 million. $61 million. California went 222% over budget in the first year and a half at $14.7 billion. Now, obviously, they have a larger population, so, you have to do it in comparison here. But $14.7 billion and 222% over budget in the first year and a half. Colorado, $550 million over budget in the first year, 45% increase than what they anticipated. Illinois, $2 billion, a 70% over budget in the first 2 years. Are you seeing a trend here? Now, even these numbers here, any of them, from North Dakota, up in the north, a little bit smaller population, kind of a rural community, $67 million over budget, 114% in the first year. First year! Now, what it did after that, maybe it balanced out, equaled out. Maybe it plateaued a little bit because everybody jumped on, but they were more than expected. The price tag was more than expected. Now, tell me, with $67 million, how are we supposed to compensate for that in a budget where Laura Kelly proposed $14 million? 14! On the low end, we're going to see $60 million over budget if we look at a comparison to compare to other states of what they've who's done this. That's something we should be concerned about, is it not? So with my predictions, I really hope to God we don't pass this. But if anybody has any sense of common sense in any way, shape, or form, we would say, hold on, this is not a smart idea in any way, shape, or form. If we're going to compete, which I agree with what Laura Kelly said about having competitive health care, being able to take care of even the lowest of income individuals, and us being able to provide health care for them, you're right, but it's not through the government. It's got to be through that private sector. It's got to be the 20 different insurance companies that need to come in and compete for your business that can drive down the prices so that way they can have the largest market and the largest consumer base to, I don't know, here's the tricky trigger warning for you, to make a profit. Yeah. But then also to actually have a decent quality care to where you want to stay with that business and you don't want to go to somewhere else. See, again, progressives don't understand the idea of having high quality and low prices through a competitive market. The government is not what creates things through inventions, but it's the private market, with businesses wanting to have the best technology, wanting to have the best product, wanting to have the best customer service, wanting to have the best prices. And then you test them out, and if you like them, you stay. If you don't, you go to another business. When the government gets involved, I know they say it just creates more competition in the market. That's not true when you're actually not needing a profit. As Bernie Sanders has talked about, as James Thompson has mentioned on the air as well, as many other progressives have mentioned that, you know what, as Obama did when he passed Obamacare, you know what, you just throw in the Medicaid option. It's just another option in the market, and that way if you want to keep your plan, if you want to keep your doctor, if you want to keep your care, then you can, but then this is an option for low-income individuals as well, and then what we can do is we can lower the price so low that everybody jumps on it. We don't have the quality, but we can lower the price so low because we don't have to actually have a profit. We drive everybody else out of the market. We bog down the system. Then we have to raise the prices because it's way too damn expensive. Apparently, we can't see the full figure through. Again, we're short-sighted here. We have the short attention span. We only look out the year in advance, Laura Kelly. We don't look at the long term when it comes to the price tag that's going to be for KPERS down the road. We don't look at the price tag for the health care long term down the road. We only look at it immediately. Hey, we got a $900 million surplus in the state right now. Somehow we can borrow a little bit from KDOT. We can borrow a little bit from KPERS. We can do all this stuff. We can expand right now. Then when the next year comes, everything may crumble and fall apart, but it doesn't matter. I mean, we did it for this year, and we did it without raising taxes, which is what Laura Kelly said she was going to do. She was going to balance the budget. She was going to fund everything she wanted to fund, and she was going to do it without raising taxes. That was the big issue, right? That was the big talking point. Well, you know what? She did it for 1 year. Now, 2 years down the road doesn't matter. To hell with 2 years down the road. That's a long time away. We'll figure it out when we get there. Let's just do 1 year to say commission accomplished. It's going to be the big banner across the USS Wichita that says mission accomplished, with Laura Kelly sitting there saying we did it, we balanced the budget, we didn't raise taxes, and we spent all the money we wanted to. We depleted our funds of whatever was sitting there or potentially sitting there while we said that there's a recession possibly coming and we need to prepare ourselves. We expanded our base of spending to where this is the new base, and the next year we can work on spending even more. But mission accomplished, baby. The USS Wichita would be very proud of us. 316-721-8255. Let's go to the phones here to the ABC Recycling Hotlines. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
My name's Ann. Good morning.
Good morning, Ann. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm encouraging everybody to call their governor or their representative on Medicaid expansion as well as school funding. I don't know about you, but my doctor's office, who just has an area that does prior auth for insurance, there's a sign on the door. If you don't have to be in this room, don't come in. And I do prior auth for insurance companies. I know how long it takes and the hoops you have to jump.
Sure.
And what do we pay for in the budget already? You know, I'm not quite sure, but between school funding and health care, what are we paying? 40 to 60% of the budget?
Well, just education itself, K through 12 education is close to 53% of our state budget already.
And then Medicaid, our insurance is probably what, 40?
I would have said, I think it's probably closer to about 20%, but it's up there. Yeah.
And you take those stats. I'm not a mathematician, but when you're going by 100%, how much does that leave for everything else?
Well, and that's the issue. Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. And then we look at, look at this. The children in the foster care system are failing because we're missing children and we have issues with the leadership there. Then we have the transportation department where we're still borrowing money, even though she said she didn't want to do that, still borrowing money while we complain that the highways are crumbling and falling apart. You're right. Then every other agency, the corrections facilities, which she did in her budget include pay raises for correction facilities workers, which is all fine and dandy and great. But, you know, how long can we sustain that? You're right. When we have only K through 12, not even higher education, but K through 12 at 53% of our state budget. Then you add on higher education, that's 60% of our budget total with the K through 12. Then you add about the 20% for the health care already. We're already looking at close to 90% of our state budget. Now 10% of it gets to go to the other 1,000 agencies that we have in the state of Kansas.
And that doesn't include unfunded liabilities like KPERS.
Right.
And I have a friend that's a school teacher, and she was under the understanding that everybody got insurance and all that from their employer, and they're going to get a check every month when they retire. She about fell over when she found I didn't. And she goes, whoa, I better quit bitching. She had no idea.
Sure. Yeah.
She thought everybody got KPERS. She thought everybody got insurance when they retired and a check.
Sure.
And my point being is, going back to Sebelius, I read an article, and I can't remember from, what paper, but it had a picture of Kobach on it. Kansas refusing, governor in trouble for not paying KPERS bill.
Sure.
And then you get to the very end of the article, and lo and behold, it was Sebelius. And someone, would that be Kobach?
Yeah.
Had to come up with back payments to catch her up because she was a whiz at moving numbers to make it look like a balanced budget on the spreadsheet.
Sure. And
and
shockers, Sebelius is the same one that funded and supported Laura Kelly to get into office as well. So she's using the same tactic of not only delaying payments for KPERS, but then missing monthly payments as well on occasion in order for the short savings here. But what the hell if we just run short and we just end up missing a few payments for our KPERS plans? Why not?
But you know what? Feeling back, how many people did Obama try to put in his cabinet that hadn't paid their taxes, she being one of them? And what was hers, $14,000 or something, and she had to pay those in order to be able to run for what Obama wanted her in, to be nominated or put in there. So she pays her back taxes, which, our senators don't have to, let's face it. She goes, I want to be one of those. But anyway, all this stuff going on, back taxes not being paid. So anyway, she pays her back taxes, and what do we get? Obamacare.
Sure. Yeah, why not? Let's just do a statewide Obamacare system because that works really well at the federal level.
Yeah, and let's forget the Democrats using teachers as props every time, you vote every year and get money for the schools. Correct me if I'm wrong, but school funding is in 3 different areas, and schools don't have to tell where the money's going.
Correct, yeah. I mean, they get the general fund check, and they just say, okay, do as you will.
Sum, and lo and behold, how many raises do the teachers get every year? Oh, yeah, but my gosh, our teachers don't make enough money. Where does most of the money go? Superintendents.
Administration.
And who knows where else?
I mean, come on. We need to have a 3-figure salary for the administrator, for the superintendent. We need to hire 2 more deputy superintendents, and we need to expand the number of administrators working in the back office because that is how we properly educate our children. And I love it. I appreciate it. We got to take a break here late on one, but you bring up some excellent points. You're absolutely right. And as we look at the percentage of the budget, really, where the rest of the agencies outside of education and healthcare, and, well, that's about it. After everybody else, they really grovel for about 10% of the entire state budget. And yet, they want more money in the education. They want more money in the higher education. They want money in the healthcare system because let's just throw more money at that, and then we can have less money available to the rest of the agencies. Then we complain about how bad those are actually functioning. It's a nice little process, isn't it? Got to take a break. 25 minutes past the hour right here on The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Meade. Well, today is Tuesday, January 22nd, the day after the Martin Luther King holiday. One more day for the U.S. Department of Agriculture to open many Farm Service Agency offices around the country to meet the needs of farmers and ranchers.
We will calling back about 2,500 FSA employees to serve our customers' needs. That's going to be in about almost half of our FSA offices. Not all will be. It depends on the duties of processing payments, receiving checks, and different things like that. That information can be found on the website at farmers.gov or USDA.gov or on Twitter at Secretary Sonny or at USDA Facebook.
Those FSA offices were open last Thursday and Friday. Secretary Perdue says not all services will be available, but many will be.
Will they continue receiving processing payments that farmers want to bring in? That will enable us to make accurate 1099, both the interest 1099s and the other payment 1099s out where they can begin to prepare their taxes. They'll be able to assist with existing farm loans, including farm loans, commodity loans, farm storage facility loans, and incidentally, for those people who have two-party checks where the USDA is one of the on the check, we can endorse that and help that producer to negotiate those checks where they can take care of that. Also, for those with cotton warehouse receipts electronically, we will be working that out of Kansas City. So the electronic receipts enable us to do that for cotton.
Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue, the last day for the FSA offices to be open. They were open last Thursday and Friday to limited services, and not all FSA offices are open. The Kansas offices are, however, all open. You can check if your office is open online at fsa.gov. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
This is John Sidoric with JD Aviation Services at the Augusta Airport. There's no doubt that vehicle maintenance is important on the roadways, and proper aircraft maintenance is even more important. Since JD Aviation Services opened its doors, we've received many new customers through recommendations of current customers. So this is your formal invitation to make JD Aviation Services of Augusta your aircraft maintenance partner. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Truck owners, Toppers Plus Truck Accessories has the tonneau cover for you. Protect your truck bed and valuables with a locking truck lid. Choose from hard, soft, folding, or retractable covers. Toppers Plus has top brands like Lear, Undercover, Backflip, X-Stang, Roll and Lock, and more. Work or play, make your truck work for you. Toppers Plus, 5511 West Central in Wichita or toppersplusks.com.
Make your truck work for you!
In January, everybody's wallet could use a little spending break, and at Yoder Meats we can help with that. This month we are offering our cheapest bundle of the year, only $57. The January bundle includes ground beef, minute steaks, sirloin steaks, pork chops, and chicken breast, all for just $57. If you're looking for an even better deal or a little less meat, the butcher bag is $28 this month. Follow us on Facebook for the latest information and weekly specials. Taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats in Yoder and 3 locations in Wichita.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is The Big Talker, KQAM.
Into the Voice of Reason, bottom of the hour news coming up in just a minute here. We got a lot more to get to, more fun each and every day. When we come back, bottom of the hour, we have Bryan Frye, Wichita City Council member, as he joins every single Tuesday. We'll continue on with the Medicaid expansion discussion here in the state as well. Just imagine we allot $14 million and then we end up having a bill of like, I don't know, $60 million. You know, whatever, it's cool. We'll just find a way to spend more money there, right? Yeah, call your legislators. Call your legislators. That's the one we're uncertain whether it's going to go through or not. It's passed before, even with the Republican-led majority, and that's an issue. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay right here.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
Academy Award nominees are being live streamed at Oscars.com. Kumail Nanjiani and Tracy Ellis Ross are announcing the contenders.
Do you write songs or anything?
I don't sing my own songs.
Many believe A Star is Born will be a multi-category nominee. The partial government shutdown has stretched into its 32nd day, with another missed paycheck looming for hundreds of thousands of workers. Francis Nichols among them.
To President Trump and lawmakers, I'm asking that you do not hold the federal government paychecks hostage. This is not our fight. We did not ask for this. This is something that I did not ask for.
A commercial airliner flying from Siberia to Moscow made an unplanned landing in the city of Khanty-Mansisk. Russian officials say a passenger demanded the plane change course. One report states the passenger was drunk and attempted to seize control of the aircraft. I'm John Trout.
Looking for ways to save with your Medicare plan? Walgreens is a preferred network pharmacy with many plans nationwide, which could mean lower copays for you. So bring your prescriptions to a Walgreens pharmacy today to start saving. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Walgreens participates as a preferred network pharmacy with United Healthcare, Cigna HealthSpring, and Express Scripts Medicare. For a complete list of available plans, please contact 1-800-MEDICARE. TTY users should call 1-877-486-2048. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or consult www.medicare.gov. Other pharmacies are available in our network.
Sarcoma. Odds are you've never heard that word before. For the 40 people diagnosed with sarcoma every day, it is a life-changing word because sarcoma is cancer. Through awareness, advocacy, and research, the Sarcoma Foundation of America is bringing hope to the families whose lives have been turned upside down by a cancer they had never heard of until diagnosis. Please join us in the fight to find the cure for sarcoma. For more information on the work of the Sarcoma Foundation of America, go to curesarcoma.org.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Tuesday. An early afternoon accident in Finney County yesterday claimed the life of a Wichita woman. Kansas Highway Patrol says the accident was just after 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon on U.S. Highway 83, 2 miles south of Garden City. Authorities say a Honda Civic driven by 50-year-old Tu-Yen Win of Wichita was northbound and crossed the center line, striking a semi. Win was transported to St. Catherine Hospital in Garden City, where she was pronounced deceased. The semi-driver, 50-year-old Douglas Brittenham of North Platte, was not injured. A home in Barton County deemed a total loss after being destroyed by a fire around 5:30 yesterday morning. The home was in the city of Ellenwood, and the Barton County Sheriff's Office reports the house was discovered fully engulfed in flames upon firefighters' arrival. No one was home at the time. Although the exact cause of the fire has not been determined, investigators do not suspect arson. Mid-America Network News.
There are two things you can count on every winter. One, you can count on it getting colder. And two, you can count on your Cenex fuel distributor to get you through the season without equipment problems. Our Cenex premium diesel fuels are seasonally enhanced to give you optimal performance and protection for your fleet or farm equipment. We can also advise you on how to prep and blend down your tanks to avoid gelling and ice problems. So for a trouble-free season, count on Cenex.
See the Anthony Co-op in Anthony, Kansas.
Attention, co-op members. In conjunction with Countryside Motors in Wellington, all co-op members and their families qualify for additional rebates on Chevrolet, Buick, Hustler turf equipment, and Polaris vehicles. This exclusive fleet rebate program is only being offered by Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Offers are not being published to the general public. They are available to co-op members in Kansas or Oklahoma. For full details, contact Countryside Motors in Wellington at 620-326-7433 or online at countrysidemotors.net.
When it comes to cleaning homes, dust, grime, and soap scum don't stand a chance when a team of highly trained dirt assassins from the Maids hit the scene. Ruthlessly efficient, trained in a 22-step process perfected through years of practice by the Maids. These masters of messes have only one motto: we fight dirty. Call now for a free estimate and schedule every other week service. Call the Maids, 316-832-9058, or visit maids.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a slight chance of drizzle, cloudy with the temperature falling to around 27 by 5 p.m. Winds gusting this afternoon over 35 miles an hour. Cloudy but clearing for tonight, low around 21. Wind gusts over 30 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:35, it's currently 47 degrees.
This segment of The Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. Keeping political talk trendy.
Oh my God, yes, more.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
We are having way too much fun today on a Tuesday. It is the post-Monday celebration, and I think we're going to stick to that kind of mentality today. Why? Because we got a ways to go for the week, but it's beautiful outside. I walked outside today, and I'm one, and Bryan, you can tell, I hate wearing coats.
Yeah.
I hate wearing coats. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I can just walk in my T-shirt out to the car real quick, and then warm up in the car, and then get out of the car and run into the building, and then I don't even have to wear a coat.
That's right.
And I like that. And I stepped outside anticipating the cold, icy, windy chill this morning, and I walked out, I was like, it feels like springtime.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, I like that. So anyways, it's beautiful, 47 degrees right now at the KQAM studios. It is our time for the City Update every Tuesday.
We built this city.
As our city council member, Mr. Bryan Frye, hanging out in studio with us. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Andy. How are you?
Hey, doing great. Great to have you along again for the ride. And, yeah, it is beautiful outside. Although, it's just the tease, and then we get to have the icy chill, like, in the next day or two.
Yeah, it's going to get really windy later, I believe. And you're going to be breaking out your fur coat, your beaver coat. I know you got one.
The North Pole tile. I'm going to be rocking it.
That's right. So, yeah, this kind of morning is really, 60 days till spring?
Oh, man, we're so close.
Yeah,
we're so close.
We got to get through February. That's always the hardest month for me.
That is true. That is the coldest month. But then I always look at it by celebration of St. Patrick's Day. It's not just because it's the greatest holiday of the year.
You're a big St. Patrick's Day. I know.
But I also see that as the beginning of springtime.
Yep.
And so it's kind of got the dual purpose there. But I love this. It's like 50 degrees, and then we get the icy chill. And I hate wearing coats.
I know.
It's bulky. It's annoying. I mean, if I had a choice, I wouldn't even be wearing sleeves right now because I'm kind of a cut-off sleeve kind of guy.
I'm just glad you're wearing pants.
Allegedly. The video camera has not proven that yet. So there we are. Lots coming up in the city council going on today. Now that you guys are into the swing of things, the transfer and transition of the new people in there is going well, which, by the way, we have Pete Meitzner coming on in the next week or so. So from the county side now, formerly with the city council, but now things are kind of gearing up for the year.
Yeah. We got Becky Tuttle installed as representing District 2, so that's great. And this is the beginning of the year. We start to get into budget season and capital improvement plan for the next 10 years. And so this is when we really start to really get into the meaty stuff.
Sure.
Today is just a normal consent agenda, but then we have a workshop that's got 4 items on it, which normally workshops are 1 or 2.
Yep.
But that just kind of shows you how we've got a lot to do and a lot of work on the horizon. Interesting. We've got 2 that are kind of updates. One is Project Wichita, an update on their on what they're doing and their process and what they've learned and what their next action steps are. They've been coming to us on a regular timetable and telling us what's happening with Project Wichita, so we look forward to hearing what they've got to say.
Very good.
And then we have to update our housing plan, which is supported by HUD, and we have to update a 5-year plan every year. And so this will be just the latest, how we're going to be spending the federal dollars that we get for our housing subsidies and programs.
Now, is that going up a little bit? I know that you guys went and actually met, and the mayor met with Ben Carson, actually with HUD a while ago.
Right.
Are we seeing any changes with that? Did we see a spike in that kind of money? Or
we're trying to identify some additional affordable housing.
Okay.
Certainly we have a little bit of concern right now with the shutdown, because that is one area that is affecting us locally, because we get the voucher programs that allow people to pay for their subsidized housing through the housing program.
Okay.
And so with the shutdown still in effect, those payments are not here right now.
Sure.
And so how are we going to deal with that? That's really not the subject of today's workshop, but it's something that we're definitely working on.
Kind of on the back of the mind there.
Exactly,
yeah. Okay.
exactly. So that's one of the, obviously TSA and so forth, but from our standpoint at the city of Wichita, that's an area that we have to keep an eye on.
Sure.
Because who will make those payments if the feds aren't?
Right.
We have the ability to, but is that our place, considering it's a federal program?
Exactly.
So that's where we have to really watch that. But the other 2 items on the workshop today are pretty interesting. One is a project that we've been working on for some time, and we've talked about this, the Aquatics Master Plan.
Sure.
If you remember, last year, in 2017, we approved an Aquatics Master Plan that allowed us to have 3 pools open and then splash pads at all the closed pools.
Splash pads, yeah.
And the plan was to completely rebuild those 3 pools. And after we did that, we started looking at the numbers and the lifespan of those existing pools and realized that, these pools have more life in them than what staff was thinking.
Okay.
And so we said, go back and figure out how we can significantly upgrade and improve these pools. Most of the problems at our pools were the filtration systems.
Okay.
They were very ancient style, design, mechanics, and weren't very efficient and really had challenges. There were some other issues, but the main thing is getting those filter systems working on a much more advanced basis.
Sure.
Would really save some money and increase their lifespan.
Sure.
And so we have now figured out a way to, and we had $22 million in the CIP, in the capital improvement plan, for the 3 pools and the 7 splash pads. Now we've come back and said these pools have longer lifespan than what we thought, and if we make some significant upgrades to them and make them more attractive, increase the operating hours, we think we can have 6 pools open and 6 splash pads and do it for $16 million. So save about $6 million, have 3 more pools open rather than just 3, have 6, and significantly enhance their operating hours.
Sure.
So right now our pools don't open until Memorial Weekend, and they close the first week of August.
It's kind of a short window there.
And they're only open from noon to 5, Monday through Saturday. So this new plan, this revised plan, opens Memorial Weekend, closes late August, I think even Labor Day. I'd have to double check. That's part of the workshop today to go through all that. And then open Monday through Sunday, noon to 6, with some pools maybe even having extended hours beyond that. So significantly increase the operating hours, which allows us to create more revenue and have more traffic. Have 6 pools open versus 3, and that includes reopening McAdams and significantly enhancing each one of those pools so that they're more attractive, more usable, more desirable, more inviting for people to want to go to.
Now, with the cost of this, that includes the the maintenance and the upkeep throughout the summer, along with the staff to actually to actually be there.
Right. Actually, we get better filtration systems, so they operate more efficiently. We are able to recoup the cost. The operating, the return on, I just totally dropped the acronym now. Cost recovery.
Okay.
The cost recovery on each one of these pools increases because we have the ability to bring in more revenue because we're open more hours, more days, a longer season. So the cost recovery on each one of those pools increase. And we're also talking about creating an endowment.
Sure.
So that we'll have money to consistently keep them maintained. And that's one of the problems that we've had is that they've fallen into disrepair and not as inviting. And if we can, again, by saving $6 million on the front end on capital improvement, put some of that towards an endowment to keep these pools maintained over a longer lifespan to make sure we're getting the full use, the full life cycle out of these pools.
Sure.
Bottom line, though, people are going to have to use them. We're going to make this investment, and we're going to keep these pools open and reopen McAdams.
Right.
And we're going to put in splash pads and closed pool sites, but people have to use them. And if they're continuing to use them, then we can look at more longer-term upgrades after they end their life cycle use.
Oh, sure.
So,
I mean, if people aren't showing up, it doesn't matter what you invest in.
Right.
If they're not wanting to use it, then that means, the interest is gone, and we got to look at some other ways to do it.
And that's the security we need to keep this program going. We need those people buying tickets, passes, using the pools, and keep it going that way.
Sure.
And that's what it all comes down to. If they're not using it, then we're going to be having this conversation all over again. But that previous plan also was a 10-year build, close, build, close. This new one gets it all done in 2 years.
Gotcha.
So we're going to ramp it up quickly, get all these splash pads opened, get the pools reopened, and add amenities to them. So we're talking a much quicker turnaround than what we had previously. And, again, saving $6 million off the cost.
Sure.
So much better stewards of the property and just, again, taking a much more critical eye on the numbers that we had and looking at the pools and where we could really make the improvements.
Very good.
So that's a workshop today, and then that'll go back through the district advisory boards. It'll go back to the park board before we come to the council for final decision and so forth. But we think it's a really good plan, I believe. And, again, it opens up 3 more pools. And so we'd have 6 in all quadrants. And then splash pads, which are becoming very popular, as we've talked about.
Yeah. A lot of the kids really enjoy those. We went to one last summer, I remember, and, my little one just absolutely loved it running around that splash pad. It's a good time.
Well, and, again, that you can open in April.
Just let it roll.
And run all the way through October.
Sure.
Right? And they can operate sunset or sunrise to sunset.
Sure.
And you don't have to have lifeguards. It's a way to cool off. Can you swim in them? No.
You can pretend.
You can flop around like a fish.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's
But, and those have a place in another entertainment recreation option, right? And then the other thing on workshop today are scooters. And I don't know if you've been to Kansas City or St. Louis and seen these electric scooters. It's just like the bike share program. But they're stationed in various parts of your downtown, and you can rent them. It's an app, and it's like $1. I don't know. It's very inexpensive.
Sure.
And they're really supposed to be used for that last mile or that first mile, right? You use a transit bus or something to get to a location, and then maybe you grab the scooter to get you to the final stop that the bus doesn't take you.
Sure.
Where you come downtown and you park your car, and then you use the scooter to go from this place to that place. Very popular with millennials. I'm too old to operate one. I'd probably fall off and break a hip. But there are great scooter companies. There's one called Blade. There's another one called Lime. And they operate world class. They're doing the right things. They're hiring people to keep them recharged. They're hiring people to keep them stationed and parked in the right places so they're not littered all over driveways and sidewalks.
Sure.
Right. And so
I know that was one of the issues when we read the story about Kansas City was that, they were either left around or people were trying to steal them or they weren't locked up properly. And there was issues of them being used inappropriately.
Right. And that's really what we have to discuss today. We've been negotiating with these companies about how they're going to be used, keep them off sidewalks, They have to follow the rules of the road. You got to make sure that pedestrians are not going to be in the way, or I'm sorry, I should do it the other way, that scooters are not getting in the way of pedestrians, right? That they just can't be left in areas where they're blocking driveways or storefronts. There's going to have to be some set guidelines. I do believe they have fences built within them so they can't get out of a certain footprint. And so this will be something that, it's that next step of, how's your city attracting millennials? Are you doing those type of things that you're seeing in major cities? Could this work? We don't know. But it's worth trying, I believe. But let's put it in a way, again, that follows the rules of the road, that doesn't do anything to obstruct businesses or public access, and then also pedestrians have to be the first priority.
I was going to say, is it going to be on the road or on the sidewalk?
On the road.
It's going to be on the road.
Yeah, not sidewalks. Yeah, that's the proposal. That's the proposal that we're hearing right now as part of this workshop. I mean, one, our sidewalks are probably not as wide as they really should be, especially in some of the core areas in downtown. But then again, sidewalks or roads can get real congested. But just like bicycles, you play the game right. You have rules for them.
See, that drives me nuts too. Bikes on the road drives me nuts. Get the heck on the sidewalk. Get out of my way.
But bicycles are not allowed on sidewalks.
But they're supposed to be. I think they should be. They should be on the sidewalk. So the cost of this would it be a charge to use the scooter in order to compensate for that cost? How does the finances work for this?
Yeah, I believe you download an app and you pay through your credit card, just like the bike share. There's a certain amount of rent for however long you're using it. They're not free.
Sure.
But and you're seeing them. I think there's like 5 different scooter companies right now. Those are the 2 I remember, Blade and Lime, and those are the ones that are talking to us. But they are for charge.
Okay.
Amenity.
Very interesting. So looking at that one, well, that's going to be an interesting discussion. We'll see if we do look at moving forward with this one. Do you think it would be like this summer when we see this kind of thing come
I think
up?
Probably quicker, probably the spring, right?
Okay.
And who knows? Maybe after that we get the mall segways, right? You've seen those?
There we go. Yeah, there we go. I could pretend like I'm a mall cop, and I could just roll around on the deal. I'm looking forward to that.
Andy Hoosier, mall cop.
Mall cop. Yeah, that's right. That's the way I'm working on it. I love it. Wrapping up here real quick. We just got about a minute left, but that's what's going on with the meeting today.
Yep.
For next week, you guys do not have a meeting, but you're going to call in from location, right? If you want to.
I don't think I'll be able to. I'll be pretty remote.
There we go.
But no, today workshop starts at 9:30. Workshops are always a half-hour later start, and they're in the council boardroom at City Hall. And then next week, because it's the 5th Tuesday of the month, we do not have meetings on those days.
Sure.
So
perfect.
But no, I'm going to be vacationing with my queen, my wife.
Well, hey, you know what? You don't need to call in from the beach there.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's a 30th anniversary, so I got to treat her right.
That's right. You got to enjoy it. I love it. No, good stuff. Bryan Frye, Wichita City Council member. Big stuff going on today. Some discussions that may really start taking effect here this spring and summer, so we'll look forward to hearing the answers on those. Always a pleasure, my friend. Have fun next week.
Hey, get out and enjoy the nice day.
Hey, there we go. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Enjoy it while it lasts until we get single weather degree again. Got to take a break here. 8 minutes to the top of the hour. Your thoughts and calls when we come back. Also, hour number 3, Mark Walters, Armed American Radio, will be joining us right here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. The live cattle futures finished Friday with mostly 35 to 65 cent gains. Nearby February was down 57.5 cents. February was up 1.24% on the week, though, last week. Cash trade was mostly seen at around $124 on Friday afternoon. Feeder cattle futures steady to 30 cents higher. March was a dime lower, though. The CME Feeder Cattle Index was down $1.04 January 17th at 142.05. Wholesale boxed beef prices were higher Friday afternoon. Choice boxes were up 65 cents at $212.15. Select up $1.95 at $209.45. So we'll start the new week today as we begin here at about 8:30. Lean hog futures posted 37.5 cents to $1.65 gains in most contracts Friday. The lean hog index was up 16 cents from the previous day, 58.18. That was January 16th. The pork carcass cutout value was down 13 cents Friday afternoon with a weighted average of 69.97. The national base hog carcass value was 41 cents higher in the afternoon report at 51.81. Federally inspected hog slaughter was estimated at 2.508 million head through Saturday. That's 48,000 head below the previous week. Refocusing now, corn, soybeans, wheat. Corn futures are currently 1 to 1.5 cents lower after seeing most contracts finished at 2 cents higher on Friday. Soybean futures are fractionally lower early today, and wheat futures are on both sides of unchanged this morning in all three markets, so we'll have to watch wheat as we go forward today. Taking a look at this moment, March corn is down 1 1/4 at 3.80 1/4. Maize down 1 1/2 at 3.88 1/2. March KC wheat is up 1 3/4, 5.07 3/4. Maize up 1 1/4 at 5.16 1/2. March soybeans down 3/4 at 9.16. May soybeans down 1/2 cent at 9.29 1/2. March soybean meal down 50 cents at 3.1460. March bean oil is up 20 points at 29.21. Market update, Mid-America Ag Network.
Waring and Fiegel Optometry at 2121 North Tyler, number 302, has a selection of prescription sun eyewear that's so bright everyone can be wearing shades. Waring and Fiegel Optometry has the names in sun eye apparel that people seek. Prescription eyewear from Maui Jim, Oakley, Wiley X, Rudy Project, and even sunglasses from Amphibia. Squinting in this beautiful sunshine doesn't have to be a thing. What are you wearing? Waring and Fiegel Optometry, 21st in Tyler.
What good are crop nutrients if your crops can't use them? Soil pH is the foundation of nutrient availability. 98G pelletized limestone corrects and maintains soil pH levels, maximizing your investment in crop nutrients by making them more readily available to the crop. Since 98G is pelletized for precision placement, it won't blow away in the wind like ag lime. Ask your local crop advisor about 98G pelletized limestone or learn more at calciumproducts.com.
You can find out why Pizza John's is the choice for pizza in Derby for over 44 years. Pizza John's in Derby, the original purveyors of round meals and flat snacks, is more than just pizza. Lunches include salads, spaghetti complete with garlic bread, and Pizza John's of Derby is the hoagie headquarters of South Central Kansas. Dine in or carry out. Delivery after 5 p.m. by simply calling 788-2011 or quick and easy online at pizzajohnsderby.com. Pizza John's.
And now this message about fully customized vehicle wraps and graphics from Shire Graphics of Park City.
Park City's Shire Graphics has the highest quality of big truck and fleet graphics, from passenger vehicles to the big rigs and everything in between. No matter the size of your fleet, Shire Graphics of Park City is the area's leader in digitally printed vehicle wraps. Superior quality digital vehicle graphics from Shire Graphics, where their niche is your need in vehicle graphics, from single vehicle to fleet. Shire Graphics at shiregraphics.com.
Whatever your business, count on EMC Insurance, because our business is protecting your business. EMC Insurance Companies has the knowledge and expertise to provide you with the right insurance coverage options. And when you insure your business with EMC, you receive the added value of our free loss control services, no matter the size of your company. Contact your local independent insurance agent and ask about insurance from EMC. In Newton, call Fuquay Insurance at 283-0800.
Join me, Mike Gallagher, on 1480 AM and 1025 FM, The Big Talker. Now back to the voice of reason with Andy Hoosier.
Welcome back into the program. Just a few minutes before the top of the hour. Thanks again to Bryan Frye, Wichita City Council member. But I tell you what, you want to talk about activism at the local level, that's the way to do it right there. The City Council, they're talking about the scooters. I told you it was going to happen. Did I not say it? The electric bikes, the electric scooters. We read the story in Kansas City. What was it, about 4 months ago? I don't know, I'm terrible with time. And we read the story, and then not a month later, they came back and said, oh, yeah, we're looking at the scooters here in Wichita. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Don't like it. I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. I think the hipster millennials are going to think it's cool for a little bit to be able to ride around on an electric scooter, and then they're going to get tired of it and bored, and then they're going to be a lot of money to maintain and to charge, and for the company to go and round them up and get them, to track them all down. If people aren't trying to steal them, if people aren't trying to break them, if they don't fall and break them, if they don't actually get hit by a car, and then why again would we put another thing on the road with me in the vehicle? we've had that debate before about the bicycles on the roads. Drives me nuts. Be on the sidewalk because that's where you should be because you don't have a motor. And if it's an issue with the pedestrians walking and the bicycles, then widen the sidewalk a little bit. And I think that would be cheaper than trying to maintain a wider road with a bike lane and now a scooter lane. To me, nope. Not a fan. I don't like it. I think it's a little ridiculous, but that's what they're talking about today at the city council meeting. Make sure to go and check it out. Also, the debate on the pools, that's going to be a really interesting one on the splash pads and the pools. Where are we going to get new pools and where are we going to get splash pads to entertain the children and to cool off during the summertime? Start the debate now, baby. It's going to be a great one. Taking a break. Hour number 2 all said and done. This show goes by way too fast. We still have the deportation cases in Kansas and the rest of the nation. We have some more Medicaid stories. We have some more bills coming out of our state legislature we'll get to. But hour number 3, Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio from the SHOT Show in California. We'll chat with him coming up next and get his take on what's going on in the world of the Second Amendment. This is The Voice of Reason, hour number 3. Stay here.
Mike here at Rusty Eck Ford with some exciting news. Our year-end offer is now extended till January 31st. That means you can still come pick out a new Ford and make no payments till 2020. That's right, drive it for all of 2019 and make no payments until 2020. Check out our nice selection at rustyeckford.com or come in person and take a look. When you decide, we'll set it up with no payments till 2020. Hey, it's a new year and you can have a happy new car. New cars, trucks, or SUVs with no payments till 2020 through January 31st. This offer is only available at Rusty Eck Ford in Wichita Town East and Kellogg. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud. Dealer retains rebates, Ford credit, interest accrues from date of sale. All negative equity paid in full. Max payment assistance up to $500. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Come visit us at Rusty Eck Ford or go to rustyeckford.com.
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Augusta Flight Center, with the largest and most diverse fleet of rental aircraft in central Kansas. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Tuesday morning. Wichita police say a 9-year-old boy visiting friends at a South Wichita mobile home park yesterday morning died from a single gunshot wound. Wichita police say they were called to the report of a shooting around 8:20 yesterday morning at the Stonegate Mobile Home Park at 2201 East MacArthur. The child was found dead from a single gunshot wound, and police believe he was accidentally shot by his 11-year-old friend after the two got into a gun safe. There were 4 other children in the home at the time of the shooting, ranging in age from 9 to 16 years old. A Wichita woman has died after a crash into a semi and bridge rail in western Kansas. The Kansas Highway Patrol says the accident happened just after 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon in Finney County. The Kansas Highway Patrol reports a Honda Civic driven by 50-year-old Tu-Yen Win of Wichita was northbound on U.S. Highway 83 2 miles south of Garden City when her vehicle crossed the center line, striking a semi in the axle of the tractor, then the axle of the trailer. KHP says the Honda continued northbound and struck a bridge guardrail. Wynn was transported to St. Catherine Hospital in Garden City where she died. The semi-driver, 59-year-old Douglas Brittenham of North Platte, was not injured. The Kansas Humane Society said it set a record for the number of homes or placements it found for animals last year. The agency says it placed just over 11,200 animals and had a 94% save rate last year. The Humane Society said its save rate increased by 50% since it moved into its new facility in Wichita in 2009. Hundreds of people turned out at Wichita State's Hughes Metroplex yesterday to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. KSN-TV reports the auditorium was filled to capacity. The annual event is hosted by the Wichita Ministerial League. I'm Rick Everett from the news desk. Now to the sports desk and Doug Downs.
Going into last night's game between Iowa State and the Kansas Jayhawks, we had 4 teams atop the Big 12, all with the same 4-2 record. The Kansas Jayhawks were able to make a change in those standings last night with an 80-76 victory over Iowa State at Allen Fieldhouse. Coach Bill Self says, though, this team still can't be soft.
So much of it is a mindset. And, if we're going to be soft or timid,
You know, we're not. This team can't be like that and outskill people.
The Kansas State Wildcats also have a chance to shake up the standings as they host Texas Tech tonight at Bramlage Coliseum. You can hear the game on KQAM. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Don't miss more ways to save on a new Bobcat compact track loader at White Star Machinery. Choose a cash rebate up to $10,000 or take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months with no payments for 90 days with approved credit. Put Built Tough priced right Bobcat equipment to work and get peace of mind with our 2-year, $2,000 full warranty. Why wait? Start saving today. Check it out on our website, whitestarmachinery.com.
White Star, get the job done.
When it comes to cleaning homes, dust, grime, and soap scum don't stand a chance when a team of highly trained dirt assassins from the Maids hit the scene. Ruthlessly efficient, trained in a 22-step process perfected through years of practice by the Maids. These masters of messes have only one motto: we fight dirty. Call now for a free estimate and schedule every other week service. Call the Maids, 316-832-9058, or visit maids.com.
This is John Sidoric with Heartland Avionics at Augusta Municipal Airport. With a $500 rebate available from the federal government for your ADSB installation, the mad rush is on. And at Heartland Avionics, we have 2 of the most popular brands pre-wired and ready to go, minimizing your aircraft's downtime. Heartland Avionics is also a certified dealer for many other ADSB installation options. Call Heartland Avionics or learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
Academy Award nominees are being live streamed at Oscars.com. Kumail Nanjiani and Tracy Ellis Ross are announcing the contenders.
Do you write songs or anything?
I don't sing my own songs.
Many believe A Star is Born will be a multi-category nominee. The partial government shutdown has stretched into its 32nd day, with another missed paycheck looming for hundreds of thousands of workers. Francis Nichols among them.
To President Trump and lawmakers, I'm asking that you do not hold the federal government paychecks hostage. This is not our fight. We did not ask for this. This is something that I did not ask for.
A commercial airliner flying from Siberia to Moscow made an unplanned landing in the city of Khanty-Mansisk. Russian officials say a passenger demanded the plane change course. One report states the passenger was drunk and attempted to seize control of the aircraft. I'm John Trout.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Derby Mattress. No dancing animals, no gimmicks. Your locally owned hometown mattress store at 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a slight chance of drizzle, cloudy with a temperature falling to around 27 by 5 p.m. Winds gusting this afternoon over 35 miles an hour. Cloudy but clearing for tonight, low around 21. Wind gusts over 30 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:06, it's currently 47 degrees.
Stimulate your mind. The best talk radio around. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
We need to have options. Now, healthcare is not a right. Let me repeat that. Healthcare is not a right. But as a civilized society, as a first world country, we need to have options for healthcare so that way we can actually extend our lives, a better way of life, because that's how we progress as a society and as a human species, is that we progress that way. But healthcare is not a right.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 3 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas. On the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV as well, KGPT TV channel 2610. We are rocking it on YouTube Live as well, youtube.com. Find KQAM Radio, subscribe to the page, watch us live there each and every day. Welcome in, 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK on our ABC Recycling hotlines. We'd love to hear from you, but he's got limited time, so I want to jump right into it. As he traveled yesterday, I got to fill in for his show, which I always love, Armed American Radio. You can hear on numerous stations all across the nation, but including right here on the KQAM airwaves each night at 8 p.m. But the host of Armed American Radio from the SHOT Show in Las Vegas, baby, where the shenanigans happen each and every year, Mr. Mark Walters on the line with us. Mark, what's happening, brother?
Vegas, baby. How you doing, Andy?
Hey.
Thank you for hosting the program yesterday. I much appreciate it. Those are my listeners.
It's always a pleasure. I always love doing it, and I get the opportunity to do so again on Friday as you're heading back. So, but you do this every year at the SHOT Show, and this is one thing I'm going to do at one time. Sometime I'm going to get to that SHOT Show, but you look forward to this every single year.
Yeah, I do. You know, this is I think my 19th SHOT Show. I think this is my fifth, if I'm not mistaken. I lose track of time broadcasting here from the floor.
How fun!
We'll be sitting on Radio Row. It's excuse me, it's Armed American Radio. It's the Dana Show. It's Lars Larson. It's Mike Gallagher, and it's my program. And I think you've got the Josh Tolley Show there. So it's a who's who. It's an awful lot of fun. And this week, my listeners will be able to hear from both Mike Gallagher, the great Mike Gallagher, and Lars Larson. I've talked to both of them, and we're going to do some interchanged interviews, if you will, and vice versa. And I'm looking forward to that. We've got a lot to go over here in Vegas. The state of the industry in the firearms community has changed. The AP has a piece out yesterday, and it's running up on Drudge today about how the politics of the firearms industry are changing. And, of course, the headlines do everything they can to make the gun industry look bad.
Sure.
When in reality, the firearms industry profits and it ebbs and flows. It's like a river. We all knew when Barack Obama was in office, times were good for the gun industry because we all knew what his agenda was. Well, we know what the Democrat leftist lunatic clown posse's agenda is in the House. So I think my prediction is you're going to see that the firearms industry and its profits and its sales are going to continue to explode over the next year and a half. But nonetheless, there's going to be some gun dealers out there that might not make it because of that so-called Trump slump, which is very real. The left is not wrong when they tell us there's a Trump slump. There actually is.
Sure, but I think we're going to go the other way, as you mentioned, not only with the Democrats leading the House and their agenda, which they've already tried to do in the first couple weeks they've been in, but President Trump now with the bump stock ban, with believing in the red flag bill, and some of these other issues where we start looking and we're like, oh, wait a second, maybe he's not so pro-Second Amendment as we thought, and we need to keep our guard up when we kind of let our guard down for a little bit.
Well, let me look, I'm going to lay some blame where it belongs, and that's at the National Rifle Association. A lot of people mistake, it's Armed American Radio. I don't work for the NRA. I'm not on the NRA payroll, never have been. I'm simply a member.
Sure.
And they've done a lot of things over the years that I love. They do a lot of things over the years that I can't stand, and this is one of them. The bump stock ban was green-lighted by a statement made by the National Rifle Association within hours after what happened a mile down the street from where I sit today during the Vegas shooting over at the MGM Grand and, of course, at the country concert, when the National Rifle Association came out and actually gave a green light to calling for more regulation of so-called bump stock. Once that happened, it was game on. I made the prediction right then and there that you were going to see the banning of bump stock, and I was right. It gave them the opportunity to say, look, let's sacrifice this piece of plastic on the altar. We're going to martyr it on the altar of gun control, okay, and hope that after the hullabaloo is over, people just move on. Well, people aren't moving on. I'm not moving on. I own a bump stock. And after March 1st, I become a fourth-degree federal felon unless I turn it over to a policeman. I mean, imagine me walking up to a policeman and saying, here you go, take my stuff. Or unless I accidentally drop it over the side of my boat while I'm out on the lake during the summer, or unless I melt it, as the ATF says I can do, or unless I turn it into an ATF office. So this is a dilemma that millions of Americans are going to have to face, and the left is continually pushing millions and millions of decent, law-abiding Americans to the point where we're going to have to make some very, very, very difficult decisions over the course of the next couple of years. It's coming to a head at some point in time. The laws of physics say it must.
Well, and now we're seeing the attack not from necessarily the federal level as much as we were prepared for when Barack Obama was in office, but now we're seeing the attack at the local and the city, the county, and the statewide levels. I mean, here in Kansas, we've done some really great things advocating for the Second Amendment, but then this year, we still have even a more conservative legislature than we have in the past years, but now we have a Democrat governor. The Democrats in the legislature feel empowered for whatever reason, and we've seen already a bill that says if you have brass knuckles or if you have anything that's already banned, you're going to be on a terrorist list now, and we're also trying to put in a 3-day waiting period to purchase firearms. Those are the first two bills that we've seen in the 1 week of our state legislature so far.
This is, going to be a very, very dangerous 2 years and a very difficult 2 years for gun owners for those reasons you mentioned. Let's kind of put it in a perspective for you and kind of float above and look at this objectively. Number one, you have Michael Bloomberg, who is funding most of the agenda that you were talking about, state house after state house after state house. Number one. Number two, we're talking to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Number two, Michael Bloomberg, it appears, as we've been discussing on my Monster Sunday show, as you know, KQAM listeners know it very well. I get emails from you. Thank you. That Bloomberg is going to run for president. Bloomberg can buy and sell the Democrat National Committee 1 million times over in 50 lifetimes, doesn't need their money, and is going to run on what we believe will be a very moderate program, believe it or not, because the leftist loons that are coming, Kamala Harris and the rest of the lefties, are going to be running and pushed so far left by the likes of AOC and others and the media that Bloomberg is going to look like a moderate conservative running as a Democrat or as an independent. I believe he'll run as a Democrat. But nonetheless, he's the one fueling this fire at the state level. And make no mistake, everything that you talk about is all being pushed by Democrats. Now, they feel emboldened, as you mentioned, because the media has put them in this bubble. The Parkland kids are out there. They're believing their own hype. Why wouldn't they feel emboldened?
Sure.
But they're going to circumvent the Second Amendment by working around state houses and state legislatures to do exactly what you've just said. Piece after piece after piece, incremental step after step, and it is going to be up to the most important organization in the country now to stop it, and that's the Second Amendment Foundation in courtrooms. You need to help us at SAF.org. This is going to be a very, very difficult 2 years for gun owners.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's going to be a fight nonstop. We thought we'd be able to let our guard down and breathe for a minute. That's not the case at all. And I'm glad that there's different events going on like the SHOT Show to where you can learn about the technology, you can learn about the legislation, you can learn about different things going on in the industry because, you know, this is kind of where we start from the grassroots up.
Yeah, the National Shooting Sports Foundation that puts on the SHOT Show every year, and this is, I believe, the 40th year of the shooting. SHOT, of course, is an acronym for those who might not know it, listeners, is Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade is what the SHOT Show stands for. It's quite a clever acronym. It's not a gun show. Pay no attention to what the mainstream media tells you is going on in Vegas. It is not the world's largest gun show. This is a meeting of it's not just guns. I sat next to an CEO of an outdoor company on the flight into Vegas yesterday with some of his employees. This is everything from clothing and software and peripheral devices to firearms and every piece of anything that can build a firearm. The manufacturers, the planners, the developers, they're all here from around the world. It is not a gun show. Nothing here is for sale. This is where distributors meet with manufacturers to set their sales. And you will then see, based on what's on the floor here and what the buyers like, these are the products that will show up on your gun show shelves over the course of the next 12 months. So while the politics are huge, this floor, and this is what we'll be talking about on the Daily Defense Show, your listeners will be able to hear it as I go through it. I can't even tell you who's going to be on the program because the guest lineup's going to be huge as they come walking through to want to get on the program. But, of course, you'll be hearing from people, and you'll be able to gauge the mood on the floor here this year, which will be, I think, a little bit more somber than last year and not quite as ecstatic as it was 2 years ago right after Trump's inauguration when we were here. So
Sure.
It's a good barometer. It's a great barometer.
Man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Mark Walters out at the SHOT Show in Las Vegas going on this week. It's going to be one of these days, like I mentioned, I'd love to be able to get out there because it is interesting to watch how this plays out. Now, as we look down the road, and I know you got to run here in the last couple minutes too, but as we look down the road for the next couple of years, this fight that continues on, is there a chance to push back at this when the Democrats are so empowered? Are they going to gain? Are we going to see some Second Amendment rights begin to deteriorate a little bit, even in states like Kansas here? Or even though we may still have the majority, can we at least take over and at least stop this madness?
Yeah, the answer to that is a resounding yes, but there's a but there, and you need to be very careful. You have senators like Marco Rubio, a Republican, pushing red flag, which is a complete, utter, total violation of due process rights in America, what our justice system is based on. It's the very tenet that we are innocent until proven guilty and have a right to face our accuser. These ERPO laws, extreme risk protection orders, as the media likes to call them red flag laws, destroy due process in this country by allowing someone to make an accusation to a judge against you without your knowledge, who then approves the order and sends law enforcement to your home without your knowledge to wake you up at 5 in the morning with a warrant that you were unaware was issued to take your constitutionally protected firearms that which you knew nothing about. This is a recipe for disaster. We've already had one death. It is a Republican, Marco Rubio, pushing this at the federal level. So, again, we're going to have to win this in the courts. Here's the saving grace to us, I believe, and I hope I'm right, is that the Democrats are literally going to take their clothes off. Sorry for the visual listeners, but you're going to witness the lunatic left for 2 years prior to 2020. They're going to literally undress. We're going to see everything they're about and how radical their agenda is. And I'm very hopeful that 2020, we look back and go, man, I don't want a country that's going to be run like these lunatics have been trying to run it for the last 2 years, coming out of the House and all these lefty loons. Remember, you're going to have 30 crazies running for president. The danger is Bloomberg, who they're going to make look like a moderate, and he's got the pile of cash. Can an election be bought? Yes. Can Trump lose? Yes. Can Michael Bloomberg be president? Uh-huh. These are very dangerous times for gun owners. You got to sleep with one eye open, I'm telling you.
Well, now you just put two bad images in my head. One of them, Michael Bloomberg being president. The other one, Nancy Pelosi taking her clothes off. So thanks a lot for that one.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry for the visual, guys.
There it is. Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio. Hear him tonight, 8 p.m. right here on the KQAM airwaves. From the SHOT Show, as you mentioned, you're going to have tons of guests. Just give us a little rundown real quick, again, of some of the guests you're going to have on the program for the next week.
Oh, my gosh. I've got directors, Hollywood producers coming out today for Chris Pronto's stuff. He's the Benghazi hero. I'll have industry folks out here. I don't even know because they'll come running through the show floor. I've had NBA superstars out here. I've had Hall of Famers out. You just never know who's going to come by. It's exciting. That's what's fun about it. But we're also going to be doing some work for the Sunday program as well because we have such a great opportunity. We'll go ahead and record some interviews for the upcoming Monster Show and just bring all these wonderful people to the airwaves, as many as we can cram in, Andy. And remember this, for all the liberals out there, the truth is a harsh mistress, baby. I'm telling you.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Now, you mentioned that one year, I think it was the SHOT Show, you said you ran into Conor McGregor. And let me just tell you,
into him.
If you run into him this year, you tell him, and first off, you take a selfie and you send it to me, and then you tell him that the best fan is in Wichita and he needs to come to Wichita.
I'll try to do that if I see him. I have no idea. Those guys, those are the people that come walking through Radio Row. So you never know who you're going to hear on the show. It's a surprise to me as well.
I love it. That's good stuff. Mark, have fun at the SHOT Show, my friend. We'll check in again with you here again soon.
Thank you, Andy. We'll keep you updated.
Hey, always a good pleasure there. Mark Walters with Armed American Radio. Take a break. Open up line C for the rest of the show. 21 minutes past the hour. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Maybe you're the one person who has never had a Twitter or Facebook account. The massive social media network computers don't know anything about you, right? Wrong. They know a lot. Kim Commando with your Tuesday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by SimpliSafe, the most innovative and comprehensive wireless protection for your home. Order yours right now at simplysafekim.com. There is truly no place left to hide online. Researchers from the University of Vermont found that by looking at the profiles of people who you know on Twitter and Facebook, the computer algorithms can make some pretty good guesses about you. It doesn't take a lot either. Say you don't use social media. Well, the social media networks need access to just 8 of your contacts to accurately predict 2/3 of the time what you like, dislike, and how you'd respond to a situation. Wow, you don't post a thing and the computers are wrong only 1/3 of the time. How'd you like to be married to that? I'm Kim Commando. For years, I've been telling you about my printer of choice, the Epson EcoTank 4750. And it's easy to tell you why. It's revolutionary, it's wireless, and a complete all-in-one printer that's 100% cartridge-free. Now, I don't know about you, but I used to hate to having my print jobs interrupted just to replace an ink cartridge. Now, there's no more hassle with the Epson EcoTank 4750 because it comes with up to 2 years of ink right in the box. That's enough to print up to 11,000 color pages, and that's equivalent to about 30 ink cartridge sets. If I had to go buy 30 cartridge sets, that would cost me about $1,500. I love my Epson EcoTank printer, and I know you will too. And from now till March 31st, buy any EcoTank printer at epson.com/EcoTankKim and get free overnight shipping when you use promo code EcoTankKim at checkout.
Offer valid within the 48 contiguous states. Exclusions apply, subject to availability.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios.
No payments till 2020, only at Rusty Eck Ford.
Family owned, customer friendly. This is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Mark Collier at Collier Allstate knows mayhem can happen at any time in Kansas. Whether you live in the city, one of Kansas's great small towns, or out in the Great Plains, Mark and Allstate will protect you from the effects of mayhem. Home, health, life, or business, Mark and his great staff will help you find the best protection. Mayhem is guaranteed to come. Let the Mark Collier Agency help you through it. Mark Collier, the Collier Agency, 204 North Main in Goddard. Give them a call at 316-413-4014 and on Facebook at Collier Allstate.
Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM. Catch Andy Hoosier morning 6 to 9. Mike Gallagher 9 to noon. The Dana Show live noon till 2. Dave Ramsey 2 to 5. And Joe Pags 5 to 8. Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM.
The Miller Minute with Dennis Miller.
I want to talk about apologies. These days, public figures are judged more on their apologies than their actual actions. Case in point, Congressman Jason Smith, who has acknowledged that he yelled, "Go back to Puerto Rico," at Democrats during a tense situation on the House floor, but denied that his remark was racially motivated. It was a poor choice of words for all the reasons that the congressman had to apologize for, but anyone who gives even a cursory following of the news could surmise that he was referencing the fact that a large delegation of Democrats chose to take a trip to Puerto Rico during a government shutdown. Give credit to the Democratic congressman whose Smith comments were directed at, Tony Cardenas. While Latino, Congressman Cardenas is not from Puerto Rico and was quick to accept his apology. This should be the end of it. We live in an age where people really only read headlines, so you know this incident will live on as an out-of-context, non-fact-checked insult to Republicans of the party that yells, "Go back to Puerto Rico" at Latinos. It is insane. And that's the minute. I'm Dennis Miller.
It's happening to you every night. One snores, and the other can't sleep. It seems like there's no end to it. But now, there is a quick and easy-to-use solution, a natural solution. Snore Stop. Snore Stop was created and tested by a team of physicians and has been helping couples sleep for over 18 years. It is the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S.
Thank you, Snore Stop. You saved my marriage.
Snore Stop sprays or tablets are now available nationwide at Rite Aid and CVS. Or you can go online at snorestop.com. Don't wait. It's time to try Snore Stop and make every night a better night for both of you.
Thanks, Snore Stop. Now I'm back in the bedroom.
So don't wait. Try Snore Stop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S. Spray or tablets are available today at Rite Aid and CVS or online at snorestop.com. That's snorestop.com. Snore Stop, keeping you together.
The Dana Show, overnights on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM.
26 minutes past the hour. Hey, welcome back into The Voice of Reason. Thanks again to Mark Walters, Armed American Radio, hanging out with us here on the program for a quick few minutes as he's at the SHOT Show, getting all ready. I got to fill in for his show yesterday as he was traveling. I'll fill in again on Friday for Armed American Radio as he is traveling back, and it's a great time. One of these days, we'll get out there and we'll broadcast from the SHOT Show as well. That'd be kind of fun. 316-721-8255. By the way, I have yet to tease this or talk about it much because it's still a little far out, but we are getting closer. And as you know, in April is the annual Kansas State Rifle Association meeting, and it's going to be here in Wichita this year. Now, last year it was up in Topeka, or no, it was up in Kansas City, and we got to cover it live. I went up there and traveled up there. We did the broadcast up there, did some updates. We recapped what was going on, talked to all the booths, and a lot that year there were a lot of candidates up there running for office that had booths, so we talked to everybody and then what was going on. But this year, It is right here in Wichita for the annual Kansas State Rifle Association meeting. It's going to be in April, second week, I believe, in April. We'll have more details coming soon. I will be emceeing the majority of the meeting as they have their, not only their vendors and the different booths that they're going to have, but then they'll have their dinner, and then they'll have their usual reception going on Saturday. So I'll be emceeing the entire thing. I'm really honored, really looking forward to it. I appreciate the opportunity very much so. But the other really cool big news is that Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio, will be the keynote speaker for the annual Kansas State Rifle Association meeting this year. So he will be right here in Wichita, baby. And you'll be able to meet him. So we're going to be doing some fun stuff with him in town, as he is. Obviously, we're an affiliate station, one of his more active affiliate stations, and he'll be here in Wichita. Now, here's the kicker. Here's the really fun part. He's going to be coming in a night early. We worked it out, and again, appreciate the KSRA working with us on this one. They're bringing him in a night early on Thursday night because he will be in studio with us for the Friday Voice of Reason episode that morning. He will be in studio all 3 hours, co-hosting with me that morning, which will be really fun. He'll also be doing his Friday afternoon Armed American Radio show right here in our studios as well, and then doing the speaking there at the KSRA meeting. So we'll have opportunity to do some meet and greets and get to meet Mark Walters. You get to hear him at the speak at the KSRA meeting. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a heck of a good time. You're not going to want to miss it. Coming up in April, more information to come on that a little bit later as we get closer to that one, but I'm really honored to be involved with it, and I'm really, really, really excited. Mark Walters is a really great friend since he's been on our station and became really good friends with him. I've filled in for the show so many times. He's come on my show so many times, and I've never met the guy in person, so it's about time that we actually meet him face-to-face and actually get to see him. So really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. 316-721-8255. By the way, going into the bottom of the hour here, we have many copies of this book, What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan, The Undoing of a Good Idea. And it's a book from the Kansas Policy Institute. Dave Trauber and Tanidri Herbert actually writing this one together on what was really the matter with the Kansas Tax Plan. And I have copies that I've been giving away, but also there's a copy that I gave away, and he brought it back and said, I read it and I signed it, and now let's have a traveling book to go around and someone else read it and sign it, and let's see how many signatures we can get on the front covers. So we'll give away the book again now that we have it back. We'll give it away probably at the end of the show or maybe tomorrow. We'll give it away, and whoever gets it, reads it, signs it, and then brings it back to me, and we'll have it as a circling book to understand the values of Kansas and what's going on financially in the state. We'll do that later. Coming up on the show. Stay here.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center. Much different bills are expected to emerge in Congress in an effort to resolve the impasse from Washington.
On Capitol Hill, the House and Senate are headed in different directions in their attempts to end the shutdown. But close of business today, assuming the shutdown is not settled, means 800,000 federal workers will miss another payday on Friday. Congress and the president have approved a bill granting retroactive pay whenever the 25% of government that's shut down now reopens. Bob Costantini, The White House.
The Netflix movie Roma and British historical romp The Favorite lead nominations for the Oscars with 10 nods apiece. They will compete for the top prize of Best Picture along with A Star is Born, Black Panther, Green Book, Black Klansman, Vice, and the rock musical Bohemian Rhapsody. The Oscars will be handed out in Hollywood on February 24th. I'm John Trout.
And now, a quick comparison from Grasshopper. When a client calls, what do you want them to hear? Your personal voicemail?
Hey, you've reached Greg's cell phone. I'm away right now, obviously. Leave a message and maybe I'll get back to you.
Or something a little more buttoned up, courtesy of Grasshopper.
Thanks for calling Green Landscaping. To make an appointment, dial 1. For billing, dial 2. To speak with Greg Smith, dial
There's
3.
no contest. Put your best voice forward with Grasshopper, the virtual phone system for small business. Try it free at grasshopper.com.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer, and Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Tuesday. Former Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach has told a federal judge he's completed extra legal education that she required of him as a sanction in a voting rights lawsuit. Kobach filed documents in federal court showing he finished a 6-hour course January 4th. U.S. District Judge Julie Robinson ordered the extra education last year over what she concluded were violations of disclosure of evidence rules. The Kansas Humane Society says it set a record for the number of homes or placements it found for animals last year. The agency says it placed just over 11,200 animals and had a 94% save rate last year. The Humane Society said its save rate increased by 50% since it moved into its new facility in Wichita in 2009. Kansas News on the Mid-America Network. I'm Rick Everett.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
Hi again, everybody. Tony White, Augusta Flight Center. Want to talk about our flight training packages. Private pilot packages starting at just $5,900. Now that'll get you 47 and a half hours in the aircraft, 2.5 hours on our flight training device, 45 hours of instruction, also a free headset and a free home study kit. For more information on this and other flight training options, visit our website at iflyaugusta.com, our Facebook page, or you can call us at 316-733-4080.
It sounds innocent enough.
I like to shop the internet thinking I'll save a few dollars.
But
when it comes to truck accessories, we spend a lot of time in our shop trying to adapt for people what they thought would be such a great deal.
With a combined 100 years of knowledge and experience, our professional sales and installation staff will help you make sure that you get the right accessories for your truck.
Have your accessories professionally installed, saving you time and headaches.
Continental Truck Accessories, 6701 South Broadway.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a slight chance of drizzle, cloudy with the temperature falling to around 27 by 5 p.m. Winds gusting this afternoon over 35 miles an hour. Cloudy but clearing for tonight, low around 21. Wind gusts over 30 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:35, it's currently 47 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. Spreading the love on a daily basis.
And I will always love you.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. 36 minutes past the hour. Advancing conservatism each and every day. Usually about 96% sure of our gender identification on a daily basis. Waking you up better than a cup of coffee, a shot of espresso, even an energy drink. Right here on The Voice of Reason. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK on our ABC Recycling Hotlines. It is open lines, too, for the last half hour of the program with what's on your mind. We've covered a lot of ground today. One of them, and I want to kind of feed off of what Mark Walters had touched on in the last segment, as he had talked about the red flag bill, which is a very dangerous bill, by the way. And I talked about it a little bit last night on Mark's show, with the fact that now we're advocating for it for children. It used to be just to build to where if you are a veteran or you're suicidal and you've had mental problems, then we could try and, and again, I don't even defend it in that sense, but I could almost kind of sort of not really see the argument on why we needed it with, a veteran who has PTSD or a suicidal individual with mental issues quite a bit, where you can say, you know what, you probably don't need a firearm. That shouldn't be up to the courts with a due process. That should be up to the family saying, yeah, you know what, you probably don't need one. And they take that away as a family member, not as a court system or a politician thinking that, that's the best way to go about it. Now they're taking it to the extreme, and they're starting to use it as children as well, with the laws for children saying, you know what, you are emotional, you're going through your time, your teenagers, your hormonal imbalances, you're going through very emotional things, you're trying to figure out how to date, you're trying to figure all this out, you're probably a little high-strung. We don't think you should have firearms in the household because you are a teenager and you could potentially be a threat. And they're starting to expand this quite a bit, and that's a bill that 13 or 14 states have actually passed already with this red light bill, or this red flag bill, to actually try and stop households from actually having firearms. And that's concerning. Then we see some of the legislation going on here in Kansas that's in our state legislature right now. Now, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I hope it doesn't go anywhere. We have an opportunity to stop it if we're aware of it and we let our legislators know. But regarding the Second Amendment, we read the bill yesterday, and I'm still trying to get some more details on it, but the bill has to do with the Terrorist Act for Kansas, and it's not only we're going to ban these objects, but if you're in possession of them, then it's involved somehow with the Kansas Protection Terrorist Act. So I don't know if you're classified as a quote-unquote terrorist to be on some kind of government watch list if you have brass knuckles or a sawed-off shotgun. If so, we've taken things to a little extreme, haven't we? We have that bill. We have the bill that is a 3-day waiting period to purchase firearms, which I hope doesn't go anywhere. I don't think it will. It's a stupid bill because apparently if you're a criminal, you're going to wait 3 days to get the gun, or you're not going to wait 3 days. You're not even going to buy it like that because you're not. I read the study last night where actually 43% of firearms used in crimes are used from guns in the black market. Only 10% of guns are actually purchased legally. Less than 1% of guns in crimes are actually bought at gun shows. Just FYI, for all those panicking about the gun show loopholes, less than 1% of all gun crimes are actually used by guns purchased at gun shows. 10% are actually purchased legally. And anyway, whether it's going to a gun show, a pawn shop, a retail store, purchased legally, only 10% of all crimes used with firearms. And that's interviewing, by the way, the criminals in state and federal prisons who have admitted to this. And yet, we want to put in regulations for guns. So, but apparently, if you try and go through the process, the 3-day waiting period is going to make you very antsy, and then you're not going to wait, and then you're just not going to buy the gun, and then you're not going to commit the crime. So that apparently is going to go on. Then we see this bill that I saw this morning, House Bill 2036, an act to repeal former legislation relating to the use of state-appropriated monies to lobby on gun control issues. Now, this falls right into what Mark was just talking about with Michael Bloomberg being able to fund a lot of the gun control advocates at state levels. As of right now, in the state of Kansas, we have laws that say that your taxpayer money, your taxpayer-funded money going to the state is not allowed to hire a lobbyist to advocate for gun control issues, because that would be stupid and that would be completely contradictory, would it not? That we have something called the Second Amendment. You're allowed to actually purchase your firearms. You're allowed to actually express your Second Amendment rights. And then your taxpayer money going to the state would actually be hiring someone to take away your own rights. To me, that doesn't make any sense. So we have a law right now that actually bans the use of taxpayer state-funded appropriated money to hire lobbyists on gun control issues. You're not allowed to do it. There's now a bill by Representative Woodard, House Bill 2036, to repeal that bill, which means that there would be a state-funded, a government lobbyist, a state-funded lobbyist, not a private lobbyist. I mean, you can still have a private lobbyist right now. We have KSRA. I think they have 1 or 2 lobbyists up at the state level right now where it's dues-funded, and it's a private club and a private organization, and they pay for a lobbyist to go up and work with legislators to pass pro-Second Amendment legislation. That's totally fine. And if there are anti-Second Amendment groups out there that want to hire a lobbyist to go and do that, they have the right to do that as well as a private organization. But a state-funded lobbyist, they would now be allowed to have, you know what? Hey, the state of Kansas is now allowed to have a lobbyist to say, we're going to take your guns away, and we're going to advocate for gun control measures. Does that make any sense to anybody? I'm a little concerned by that. And as we talk about someone like Michael Bloomberg, who apparently, according to he's not on my list of potential runnings for 2020's presidential runs, but Mark Walters thinks so, that Michael Bloomberg may run as the quote-unquote moderate candidate, get in the nomination, and then try and run against Donald Trump, and he could have a decent chance doing so. If he is about the most anti-Second Amendment individual in the country, and he's got the money to back it up. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. So that's concerning to me. And I think this would be one step to allow something like that to even be infiltrating here in Kansas with state-funded lobbyists to advocate for gun control. Again, call your legislators, call your senators, call your House of Representatives members. Let them know what's going on. They don't always follow every bill that's on the slab in different committees right now because a lot of times they're not in those committees, so they don't hear about them until they get to the floor. And luckily, the majority of these bills will be shot down in committees. But call your legislators at the Senate and the House side. Let them know what's going on. Keep them aware that this is an important issue to you. I talked with Leo Delperdang yesterday. He was in studio for about an hour with us yesterday, and I'm so glad that he had mentioned, he said, I'm getting calls on an issue that I didn't even know was going on when it was like the illegals getting driver's licenses. Why? I think it's because they heard us talking about it and said, wait a second, that's really going on? That's really happening? If we didn't talk about it, the media's not going to talk about something like that. The mainstream media's not going to be like, oh, hey, yeah, Democrats giving illegal aliens driver's licenses. That's going to be great. They want to say that, but they wouldn't say that because they know it's an unpopular statement. They wouldn't comment on that. So the only way you're going to hear it is if you listen to this and we talk about it. And now we're going to have lobbyists paid for by your taxpayer money to advocate to take away your own rights. Because apparently that makes total sense in today's times. So hopefully they shoot down this bill, number 2036 from the House bills, and that way we don't have to worry about lobbyists advocating against our own rights funded by our own taxpayer money, because that makes total sense in the entire world. Call your legislator. Send them an email. Send them a letter. Call them. Email them. Whatever. Let them know. Let them know what craziness is going on in other committees. Let them know what is being advocated for. And the boldness, the absolute crazy boldness the Democrats have this year, where they think they are in power, they think they are in control, and they think they're going to be able to bully their way through. And let me tell you something, they're going to try to bully their way through. That's just a matter of fact. 316-728-8255, 316-721-TALK. Let's go to the ABC Recycling Hotlines. Line number 1, good morning. What's your name?
It's Wallace.
Wallace, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well. You know, you mentioned that Senate Bill 8 last week, and
yes.
that gun bill, and I did call both my senators.
Good.
And you believe it or not, I got a call back within 2 hours from Senator Hardy, and the following day from Diana Dirks.
Good.
Senator Hardy is opposed to that. Diana Dirks was confused by the language in the bill, and she was going to go meet with the Wichita rep, that Gasto Faust or whoever sponsored it.
Aletha Faust-Gadot, yes.
Yeah, there you go. And she was going to go try to get some clarity on it, and I'll have to follow up with her office today to see where she stands. But you know,
wait,
what's
so she was confused by the writing of it. It's not that difficult. Yeah. It's less than one page. It's about a half page long, and here's exactly what it says. An act concerning the purchase of firearms establishing a 3-day waiting period. That's what it says. Now, if she's confused by the writing on that, to have a red flag on there and be like, unless we can read more than a sentence or two, we have a problem here.
Well, I think what confused her was down towards the bottom. It said that the purchase of firearms is exempt, but I didn't have the bill in front of me, and I said, well, I think that had to do with concealed carry and law enforcement.
Yes, it does say,
Yes.
I got the bill right here. The waiting period established under the section shall not apply to the purchasing of firearms by law enforcement officers or by a purchaser who has a concealed carry handgun license or permit. So, yes, they are exempt from that 3-day waiting period.
Yeah, so she was confused by that. But here's what just blows me away with this liberal, thinking is to have a 3-day waiting period for a firearm makes complete sense, and it's not an infringement on your rights. But to make a woman wait 3 days to have an abortion, that's an infringement on her rights.
How dare you violate her rights?
Well, to show an ID to vote is attacking minorities' right to vote. But requiring a minority to show an ID to purchase a gun is not an infringement on their Second Amendment rights. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say it's an infringement here on that right, but not on this one. I mean, we've had concealed carry, campus carry now for college kids. We haven't turned it into a shooting gallery. Well, that didn't pan out for them, so now they have to go after teenage kids at home.
Sure.
And Kansas is not Chicago.
No, you're right. And what's funny is they use the story of what the Wichita Eagle ran about a month or so ago was the fact that, violent crime rates and gun crime rates and gun violence is up in Wichita, which it was up by like 3 compared to last year. And they included suicides in that as well. So now they're saying, you're right, with the red flag laws is, let's be cautious. If you are a student, if you're a teenager who's going through the hormonal imbalances and you're figuring out what the dating world's like and you had your heart crushed and you don't know how to handle that because we don't teach you how to work your way through that stuff, but now you need to go to a shrink and you're probably going to be a little emotional and suicidal. You probably don't need to have guns in that household. So because you have an adolescent teen in your home, we probably need to have that right to have the courts take away your guns in that home completely, because that makes total sense in the world.
It's funny because I look at things and I find just the stupidity in them often. It's like, think about, abortion, and I've said this before, abortion can't be a right because a man can't have an abortion, and rights are supposed to be equal. But what's interesting is they ban the procedure of cloning, which creates life, but they don't ban the destruction of life via an abortion. I mean, why is it so much better to destroy the life in its basic stage than to create it at its basic stage?
Well, it circles back around to what we talked about in the first hour, too, where right now there is a movement from the enviros who hate us abusing the earth and all its resources to if you want to get into the crazy parts, the globalists and conspiracy theorists of trying to depopulate the country. There is actually a story that came out of USA Today this morning about how fertility rates are lower by 16% in all states, to where the population will begin to decrease because it is 16% less in fertility rates than what it would be to match the current population in these states, except for 2 states in the country. 48 states have fertility rates lower, 16% lower than what it would need to match the current populations in these states right now.
I'll bet you Utah's not one of those states that's lower.
Actually, it's Utah and South Dakota are the two that are actually higher than those rates. But, I mean, it brings up an interesting story. If from the trend of, if you're a male attracted to a female, then you have toxic masculinity, and you should not be biologically engineered to look at a female and say, wow, she's really pretty. I'd like to, create more populations with her, because that's our biological engineering. Then we have it's sad, isn't it? Then we have the trend of the ones that are fertile, that are allowed to get pregnant. Then we have the push to say it's your now right to kill off your offspring, because that makes sense. And then we have the ones that are confused by our genders to where we don't know what we want to do. Then we have the millennial generation that says, I don't want a family because I want to travel the world and be selfish and kind of do my own thing.
And the icing on the whole cake is the liberals are telling us we got to have all these young migrants coming in to replace our population. Well, you know what? Maybe we wouldn't need them if we weren't killing 300,000 to 400,000 citizens every year via abortion.
Well, it's a sad trend. It's a sad trend. You're right, Wallace. I appreciate it. We got to take a break here, but you're right. I mean, it's a sad trend between the hypocrisy between the laws. You're absolutely right. Tying it into the gun laws, you don't need the right to the Second Amendment. We need to put you on a waiting period. We need to think about it, let you process it, just like that right of rescission. If you're taking out a mortgage or a large bank loan, that 3-day right of rescission, got to decide whether it's really worth doing. But then, hey, we don't need that kind of waiting period for you to cool off and really think things through if you're going through a traumatic event like a pregnancy. Then we see the fertility rates. You're right. The population is decreasing, and that's kind of an upsetting, concerning issue, is it not? I mean, I know that the population grows and then people freak out and say, do we have enough resources? Do we have enough food? We got to figure this out. But we're supposed to, aren't we? That's the whole purpose of the human species, is to grow and populate and continue to multiply. That's what we do. We're genetically, biologically, God said so, whether you want to look at it science-wise or religious-wise, that's what we're supposed to do, is multiply. And now we're seeing for the first time, whether it's the food that we're eating, whether it's the life choices that we're making, whatever, but 48 states are actually 16% lower in fertility rates to match the current populations for future generations, except for 2 states. And between that and the lifestyle choices some are making, between millennials or the abortion issue, whatever else you want to talk about, we're seeing a decrease in a population down the road. That's kind of a scary thought to me. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Wildwood Cellars. It's more than just buying a bottle of wine. You can learn tips how to find the wine you like, not the wine you're supposed to like. from the nationally acclaimed vineyards. You can have the wine tasting. It's free tastings no matter where you go. Wildwood Cellars off the Turnpike in Mulvane, or right here in Wichita at Maple and Ridge, right in that shopping strip in Wichita. Online at wildwoodsellars.com, wildwoodsellars.com. Got to take a break. Got some other calls on the line. We'll get to you as soon as we come back as we wrap up the program for you today on a Tuesday here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Higher in the grains, but lower in the livestock. Let's take a look at the markets as we start our Tuesday after a holiday. Let's check in with Brady Charles at Schwieterman Incorporated. Good morning, Brady.
Good morning. Well, a good start to the grain markets this morning, with the wheat being the upside leader, and lower in the livestock to start out the week. February live cattle are down 90 at 125.62. April down 92 at 126.45. June down 65 at 116.75. January feeders are down $1.05 at 140.42. March down $1.37 at 141.5. April down $1.35 at 143.05. February lean hogs are up 60 cents at 61.72. In the grain markets, March Kansas City wheat's up 6 3/4 at 512 3/4. May's up 6 1/2 at 521 3/4. July's up 6 1/2 at 531. March Chicago's up 7 at 525. May's up 7 at 530 1/2. July's up 7 at 536. March spring wheat's up a penny at 575 1/4. In the corn market, March is steady at 381 3/4. May's steady at 390. July's up a quarter at 397 1/2. March beans are up a penny at 917 3/4. May up a penny at 931. Nove up a half at 956. This has been Brady Charles from Schwieterman Incorporated. For questions on these markets, any other markets, and all your marketing needs, please give us a call at 800-272-9131 or visit us online at upthelimit.com.
Thank you very much, Brady. Market information from Mid-America Ag Network.
There are two things you can count on every winter. One, you can count on it getting colder. And two, you can count on your Cenex fuel distributor to get you through the season without equipment problems. Our Cenex premium diesel fuels are seasonally enhanced to give you optimal performance and protection for your fleet or farm equipment. We can also advise you on how to prep and blend down your tanks to avoid gelling and ice problems. So for a trouble-free season, count on Cenex.
See the Anthony Co-op in Anthony, Kansas.
Mike here at Rusty Eck Ford with some exciting news. Our year-end offer is now extended till January 31st. That means you can still come pick out a new Ford and make no payments till 2020. That's right, drive it for all of 2019 and make no payments until 2020. Check out our nice selection at rustyeckford.com or come in person and take a look. When you decide, we'll set it up with no payments till 2020. Hey, it's a new year and you can have a happy new car. New cars, trucks, or SUVs with no payments till 2020 through January 31st. This offer is only available at Rusty Eck Ford in Wichita Town East and Kellogg. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud. Dealer retains rebates, Ford credit, interest accrues from date of sale. All negative equity paid in full. Max payment assistance up to $500. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Come visit us at Rusty Eck Ford or go to rustyeckford.com.
When you're out and about, the last thing you want is to get stuck somewhere with a dead battery. Especially in the dead of winter, in the middle of nowhere. Today you'll learn what to look for in batteries and how to choose one that's fresh. When making a purchase, the three most important things are: 1. Getting the right size that fits your car. 2. Getting enough cold cranking amps to start in cold weather. And 3. Being sure the battery you buy is fresh, meaning less than 6 months old. So, how can you tell? Somewhere on the battery, either on a sticker or stamped into the case, you'll see a serial number, and the first 2 characters tell the date it was made. Most start with a letter, and A is for January, B for February, and so on. The second is a number that tells the year. For example, 4 is 2004. So, C4 would be March 2004. Know the code so you can hit the road. For more tips, visit our website at onthehouse.com.
Did you know your concrete porch and steps, patio, pool deck, garage floor, even your ugly laminate countertops can be resurfaced with real stone as easily as painting? I'm Peter Deitch, president of Deitch Coatings, and I'm here to say you can. Tastefully accent surfaces all around your home with just a roller and a brush to achieve beautiful, high-performance stone finishes that last. Why wait? Deitch Coatings are available to you factory direct and online at homedepot.com. Plan your next project at DeitchCoatings.com. That's DAICH Coatings.com.
Making freedom ring. This is The Big Talker, 1480 AM and 1025 FM, KQAM.
Welcome back in. Just a couple minutes left on the program. About a minute and a half left of the program. A few minutes to the top of the hour. Let's sneak in a few more phone calls, shall we? 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, Andy. This is Helen again.
Helen, go for it. You got about 30 seconds.
Okay, well, you are 100% right. God said to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And all souls in Ezekiel 18, verse 4, he says, behold, all souls are mine. So people that are murdering their babies are actually murdering God's children.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it is, and I appreciate it. I mean, it is an issue, which I don't like to go down that road too much because, unfortunately, you never change people's minds with that when you only infuriate it. But it's right. I mean, we have a major crisis going on to where, thank God, we have something like the March for Life going on that happened over the weekend, and the media doesn't like to cover it. They only like to cover the kid with the red hat. But we have a great movement right now of an awareness of trying to protect life, defend life, and it doesn't get a whole lot of attention. Unfortunately. But we're growing. We're growing. We're making it happen. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday. We're back tomorrow. Lots more to get to throughout this week. It's going to be a crazy week right here on the show. But enjoy your warm Tuesday today. What do you say?
There are two things you can count on every winter. One, you can count on it getting colder. And two, you can count on your Cenex fuel distributor to get you through the season without equipment problems. Our Cenex premium diesel fuels are seasonally enhanced to give you optimal performance and protection for your fleet or farm equipment. We can also advise you on how to prep and blend down your tanks to avoid gelling and ice problems. So for a trouble-free season, count on Cenex.
See the Anthony Co-op in Anthony, Kansas. Valley Offset Printing has earned their reputation in delivering superior jobs for close to 3 decades. Valley Offset is your complete source for not only high-quality printing, but direct mail, graphic design, web development and hosting, and a plethora of promotional items also. And Valley Offset can also streamline the efficiency of your business through online storefront development and fulfillment, putting the printed and other materials your employees need for sales, marketing, and even apparel at their fingertips via the internet. Learn more at valleyoffset.com.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Continental Truck Accessories, 6701 South Broadway. Show your truck some love with Continental Truck Accessories.
Good Tuesday morning. Wichita police say a 9-year-old boy visiting friends at a South Wichita mobile home yesterday morning died from a single gunshot wound. Police were called to the report of a shooting at around 8:20 Monday at the Stonegate Mobile Home Park at 2201 East MacArthur. The child was found dead from a single gunshot wound, and police believe he was accidentally shot by his 11-year-old friend after the two got into a gun safe. There were no adults present, but 4 other children were at home at the time of the shooting, ranging in age from 9 to 16 years old. A Sedgwick County judge has ordered a 22-year-old Wichita man to serve 2 life prison sentences for a gang shooting that killed 2 people in front of a home at 9th and Grove.